Hola gente, ¿cómo están? Sean bienvenidos hoy a otro directo, en este caso directo nocturno, porque como ustedes saben, después de un año entero, ya están armados, ya están los 48 players que se disputarán la Capcom Cup 12 de este 2026, pero obviamente va a ser la Capcom Cup de 2025, que se va a hacer el siguiente mes en marzo. Por desgracia, como creo que algunos saben, la Capcom Cup, por desgracia, va a ser per view debido a un arreglo que hicieron el grupo japonés. Ha decidido que va a ser pay per view. Que para ver la fase de grupos, por suerte, es gratis y se podrá retransmitir. El tema es el último día, o sea, las finales, que esas sí van a ser per view, que se tiene que pagar $10 si se quiere ver tanto las finales de la Capcom Cup como también las finales de la Street Fighter League. O sea, ¿querés verte alguna de esas dos? Hay que pagar 10, o si no, tendrás que esperarte al menos 2 semanas hasta que salga gratis. O sea, si la Capcom Cup va a ser a partir del 11 hasta el 15 de marzo, las finales son el 15 exactamente, no, el 14. 14 son las finales de la Street Fighter League, 15 son las finales de la Capcom Cup. O sea que si querés ver esas dos, tendrás que esperarte 2 semanas para verlas. O sea, básicamente verlas el 28 y el 29. Ok, empezamos con la maldita publicidad toca narices. Y publicidad de Kiss encima. Eso es malo. Pero ok, comienza el conteo. El conteo de 10 minutos que empieza esto a las 11. Así que acomódense bien, ya que esto va a ser una noche larga. Ajustamos el sonido. Ahí está. Y por las dudas, esto lo estoy transmitiendo desde el canal de Capcom Fighters. Si ustedes no les gusta verlo por YouTube, lo tendrán que ver por Twitch, obviamente desde el canal de Capcom Fighters o el canal japonés. Bueno, ok, como decía, a lo largo de este año se produjeron varios eventos, obviamente offline, donde todos se disputaron obviamente varios puntos y obviamente los spots después de autoclasificación por medio de los World Warriors, algunos que eran obviamente con 2 spots y otros con uno. Después de tanto esto, ya siendo el último evento, el de Japón, donde conseguimos a los 2 últimos clasificados que fueron Higuchi por puntos y Kincho por ganar Regional Finals. A ver, vamos a ver ahora la disputa obviamente de los grupos. ¿Cómo van a armarse estos grupos? Van a ser 8 grupos obviamente de 6 jugadores cada uno. De estos 6 obviamente solo van a pasar 2. Así que voy a preparar obviamente lápiz, bueno, lapicera y papel para preparar esto. Así que voy a estar atento a eso. Así que voy a traer rápido una lapicera y un cuaderno.
and gentlemen, I wouldn't miss this for the world, even if it is 2 in the morning here in the UK on the western side of the world. But I'll tell you what, we've got a juicy stream coming up for you right now. I'm going to be one of the commentators or the host for this one tonight. Jamming alongside me, he is across the pond. And I haven't held his hand in a little while because he haven't commentated in a bit. But Vicious, talk to me, my brother. How are you feeling? Talk to me.
First and foremost, I'm so happy to have you on the other side of this virtual screen, Jammers. It's been too long. Your expertise is very much so needed in the world, and hot damn, does it feel good to hear your voice, to be a part of this very special stream, right? The seeding stream has now commenced officially, coming in from a Japanese broadcast to you guys, giving you the English rundown of what's to come for this year's Big Dance, and I couldn't be more excited, right? I think there's a lot of us that have been kind of speculating around who is pretty much ready for Capcom Cup 12. You know, we've seen a lot of different tournaments throughout the year. We've seen all the World Warriors come together and a lot of character development. So it really is kind of exciting to see how this all pans out.
Yeah, it has been a long, competitive, strenuous and exciting journey for a lot of the players and probably us as viewers as well. But the culmination of everything competitive for Street Fighter 6 will be coming to a close very soon, early March, and you guys are going to find out what all these 48 players have been up to, but also who they'll be facing off. Because remember, there can only be one champion. There's a lot to get through in today's seeding stream, and hopefully you guys will stick along for the whole ride as myself and Vicious will guide you through. Really looking forward to this one, as you said.
Yeah, man, it's there's nothing more exciting, kind of like feeling the energy going into the competition, but also being able to see it like in full effect on the stream and also in person. Being able to see these players hopefully get their travel issues sorted out and make it there safely and in one piece over the Ryogoku Kokugi-Con. I am just like so ready for it. And at the same time, I really want to see what stirs up on the internet in regards to like character selection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to know who is going to be up in arms and who is going to be cheering for their latest and greatest when it comes to like the character selection, but most of all, who finally gets to reap the rewards of the big millie. As it stands right now, 48 total players going into this year's Big Dance, 8 of them coming from the Premier, 6 of them qualifying via the Premier points. And of course, throughout the entirety of the season, we had the World Warriors going down in weeks after weeks of gruesome battles. We finally determined the big winners. And others, we've had a couple of qualifiers from EWC, the Esports World Cup of this year. We had the previous Capcom Cup 11 champion. However, we will put an asterisk on that specifically to talk about who has taken their place, as Kakeru obviously has retired. SFL, big news for them as well. The champions of the World Championship making it on to compose of the last and final 4 players going into this year's Capcom Cup 12.
Yeah, and that was the interesting one, right? Because Good 8 Squad won it at the SFL Worlds, winning SFL Japan, then winning the World Championships means they didn't have to go through that competitive chaos throughout the last season as most of the other players had to. So they were like working on SFL Japan this current season that's just gone and cooking up some other stuff, working on some tech, developing characters, as you said before, Vish, as well. That's going to be a huge thing when we actually go through these players as well. But the Premier winners and the Premier points, guys, well, we had a snippet of what the olden times were like in the offline scene, and we were able to get 14 players out of that. But hey, even if you had a really good regular season, that doesn't mean you're going to take the gold. So I think these guys, they could be biting their nails, they could be nervous in excitement, but it's going to be interesting because I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys will have their eyes glued to the screen to find out who they're actually going to be facing, because they have been preparing, but now they've got to laser in on the opponents in their respective groups. We're looking forward to that.
Right, and we get to break down all of the players and their means of qualification in terms of like their status currently, kind of keeping up with a lot of the events that kind of led up to where we're at today. But before we even get into those details, obviously this is the schedule you need to lock in on, starting from March 11th all the way through the 15th. That is what's going to go down. We have the first 3 days going into phase 1, where we get to check out the winners bracket right after we see what happens in the group stage. But for the most part, this is what you're going to be looking forward to during phase 1. Again, this is going to be a double elimination format, best of 5, going into all of the phases, or at least, sorry, going into this phase where we get to see who makes it into top 16 towards the finals, and then obviously we go through the losers bracket on the following day, same kind of song and dance.
Yeah, this is super important as well, with especially leading into the phase 2 on the day 3 as well. And you're looking at how the tallies will work out as well. So basically the players will have to aim for top spots so they can just progress all the way to the top 16 and then work on the final day there. That's the ideal scenario. We've seen this in Esports World Cup, which we will bring that up in a little bit as well. But this is what happens as well. They will consider tiebreakers too. And as you can see, the top 16 leading to the final. So it is phase 1 going up with Group A. The winner of that will be going up against the, I think it's the winner of the phase 2 from Group D. So you can see it just go out there and pan out. This is going to be very interesting. And there will be a 3rd place match as well. So do keep an eye out for this and pay attention to your groups, honestly.
Yeah, so a little bit of a spin-up, right? Like, we have some kind of like traditional senses of a tournament, and then also a little bit of like a mix-up coming in from like EWC, where we go into phase 2, right? We want to make sure to differentiate like the differences here. So in phase 1, I know the slides had come at you really, really quickly. So again, 12 groups of 4 players. During this entire set of phase 1, during this double elimination tournament, again, we're getting the 12 big winners to proceed automatically into day number 4. However, in between, right, day 2 consists of like the losers bracket as well. However, in day 3, the 4 groups of those 3 players, having 12 players total, right, there's going to be a big round robin scenario going down, and this is what kind of goes on throughout that schedule. So again, group stage phase 1 backwards, going on Wednesday and then Thursday, and then Friday is going to be day 3, so on and so forth. There's going to be so much more going on in regards to these phases to break down later on.
Well, speaking of the breakdown, we're actually looking at the overview of the grand prize. $1 million will be crowning another $1 million champion at Capcom Cup 12, just like Capcom Cup 10 and Capcom Cup 11. And obviously there'll be a separate prize pool with SFL World Champions. But surprise, surprise, the announcement has been put on screen, everyone. The commentators or the talent squad, this is what's going to happen. They have got the full Japanese lineup here, as well as the full English broadcast. And surprise, surprise, there are a couple of new faces on here. I got to give a big shout out to my boy Damascus. He's made it onto the lineup here, and he'll be joining on the English side of things. And huge shout outs to Storm Kubo for making it on the Japanese side here. Oh, okay. This is important. Talk to him. Talk to him.
So again, we were talking about like the big things going into Capcom Cup, Street Fighter League as well. All of these tie into the Esports World Cup, right? For 2026, the top 4 of Capcom Cup this year, the champions of every division of Street Fighter League from JP, US, and EU, they're all automatically qualified into the big dance over at EWC this coming year. That's 16 players total. That is a huge amount of competitive integrity right there. I'm very excited, considering like how heavy-handed all the champs are from each and every Street Fighter League. That is already kind of stacked.
Well, this is interesting because you notice with, obviously you were commentating with St. Cola on the English side of things, you have Team Reject actually making it there. So Tokido, Fudo, Daigo, some of the biggest hitters in the FGC. Not only are they going to be part of SFL Worlds this coming month, but also they're going to be there for the EWC. So all the Daigo and Tokido fans and Fudo fans are going to be crying and laughing it up, just waiting to watch their guys. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to, right? But going into it, as we get ready for the actual group draw, this is what the structure and format is going to look like, right? The players are going to be divided into the groups. 20 offline tournament winners, all the World Warrior winners divided by the region. One of the biggest things that you notice here, right? You kind of see the World Warriors and their regions kind of specified in each and every one of these groups. One of the biggest things that we do have to highlight is that even if there's a group with the players from the same region, there will not be a change taking place. However, they are doing their due diligence and trying as hard as possible to spread out as many of the tournament winners as possible to make it as fair as they can for all these competitors.
Yeah, so just to give you a quick example, because Blard's qualified via points on the offline leaderboards, if he gets paired up with the Shaka 22, they're part of the same team, they're part of the same team at SFL US. If they're in the same group, we're literally strictly specifying this now. They can't really change that because they actually have done a strict seeding here as well. But looking at this, we do have the phase 1 bracket draw here. As you can see, just to repeat ourselves again, 4 players in each group. And obviously the winner, that's what we're focusing on with day 1. The winner will advance to the final day, or day 4 for top 16, leading up to the Capcom Cup Championship. And in the losers bracket, the winner of that will be advancing to phase 2 in the round robin format. So all of these guys, they've got everything to play for, and they've got extra chances to kind of stay close and in the money for Capcom Cup 12.
Quite scary going into like the very first day where you actually get to face some of the elimination processes, or at least some of the elimination matches between days 1 and days 2, going from winner side, going to loser side, all to bring it together for the big round robin part into day 3. As exciting as that is, I feel for the players, man. This is actually like, you gotta gun it for like the strongest performance possible. Obviously, that's what everybody's looking forward to for Capcom Cup, but at the same time, it's like, you never know what you're gonna get when it comes to this lottery draw.
No, legit, honestly, and this is important as well. We do have ticket information up on the screen right now. So the offline viewing tickets for Capcom Cup 12 and the Street Fighter League World Championship is now on sale. Day 4 and day 5, word on the street is they're already sold out. So if you want to get a ticket, please head on over to the official website for more info here. But I'm telling you, these tickets were selling like hotcakes, man. I've got to tell you what, and this is super important as well. You can see it on screen there with more information, and I'm seeing there's a Capcom colors for Rashid. Is that right? I think so. Is that right?
That is correct. That's right. Rashid's going to be getting a brand new colorway. It's going to be EX1 for his initial outfit. Outfit number 1 is going to be given to the people that have bought the tickets for the viewing of Capcom Cup 12 for the finals tournament, for SFL's World Championships as well. There it is. We do get the full distribution in English, and we get to see the exact dates and how to actually go about doing so, right? I know everybody's been up in arms. This is what's they've been doing a lot in terms of like trying to make this shift for the appeal of everybody as much as possible. But if you guys want to check it out, the platform is on SPWN. I believe it's Spawn.
Así que armar los grupos.
But also, if you guys
Aún
haven't done so already,
creo que aún no hicieron el group seeding, pero ya voy a preparar los
amount of time now throughout the year on Capcom Fighters. There's a plethora of different channels both on YouTube and Twitch for the respective regions. If you guys haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, and make sure to comment on a lot of the things, a lot of the videos that you have seen to make your voice heard going into the upcoming season. And one of the biggest things going into the first 3 days, co-streaming is allowed.
Co-streaming los primeros 3 días, pero las finales van a ser pay-per-view.
With the Capcom Cup and following it very closely, or even for the casual audience that just want to stream it for the folks in their Discord with their buddies, you guys can do so for the first 3 days.
Así es, porque las finales van a ser pay-per-view.
Asked about this one, but they have heard you, and they said co-streaming is allowed. But then, of course, on the 14th and 15th of March, I believe there is going to be the feature of you can actually watch the finals in the Battle Hub with the new mode installed recently, which that's actually pretty cool. I'm actually curious to kind of see how that will work. We're going to be in Japan talking about this, but it is going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. So, there we go. Live streaming with the trial at the Battle Hub.
Ahí está, explicando obviamente los reglamentos que han puesto con el tema del pay-per-view. Los primeros 3 días gratis, los últimos 2 es pay-per-view.
For the game itself, but to help watch events in the game and test on it here is a blessing in itself. But then a blessing in itself as well is there's going to be new merch available at Capcom Cup 12. So you are coming down as a spectator. There will be shops plotted in and around the Ryugoku Kikan. And then look, you can see the new jackets there.
Aún no han hecho la selección.
There's a passport case, which I might have to pick up. There's plenty of merch on deck there for you guys. So if you've got a little bit of spending money, come on. Oh, okay. Hamako's actually showing the Capcom Cup cushion right now.
I actually might want to get that. Last year was the
tenemos a James Chen y a Vicious.
To my nephew, he loves it. But the jacket,
obviamente lo está haciendo en co-stream con el canal japonés.
I know Graft is doing a really great job in partnership with Capcom, developing a lot of different ideas and approaches towards like Capcom artwork. So I really love like the spin of things towards the merch. These are going to be heavily available throughout the event itself.
A ver cómo se arman estos grupos y si habrá algún caos. Algún caos.
Tell me that's not godlike though. So, the way they do it, the way they It was Chun-Li on the back of it, actually. He was showing it off just a little bit. They have like a stock.
Sí o sí creo que va a haber algún grupo
right?
de
So
la
even if it
muerte.
sells out on a certain day, you just
Si
gotta come
ocurre
back
que hay
tomorrow
más de
and
un grupo
following
de la
day, and they'll
muerte,
have like a
uff.
brand new stock. They try to split it and then divvy it up as much as
La
possible
chaqueta
to make it as
que
fair as possible
la
to like
chaqueta
as
que se usa en
many
Capcom
of the
12,
casual audiences
especialmente los que son
as
free
possible.
agents.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody kind of like get their hands on the brand new merch. I still have my jacket hanging on my door right now, and I always have it in sight because it's mad comfortable. And
Ahí está. Perfecto.
Also, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing
Estamos set.
all of the more comfortable, casual kind of merch being brought to you in partnership with Mizuno.
Las chaquetas y los gorros de Capcom Cup. Y el logo. Bueno, logo no, un título.
A lot of the like Street Fighter League Japan, EU, and US artwork has been coming out with a lot of collaborations thus far. I'm really looking forward to
5.500 yenes, 8.000 yenes, 15.000 yenes y 7.700 yenes. El precio de las chaquetas, los gorros, las camisetas y el título.
Upgraded my wardrobe a little bit recently, but I still got room for one or two hoodies and maybe
15.000
there as well. But obviously,
y los equipos que de
with the Capcom Cup.
Hiroshima, Barrel, Kurei Squad, Saishunkan, Reject, Ibushigin y Bandit.
All these teams were actually involved in Street Fighter League in some way, shape, or form. You are actually able to check out these team booths even if you don't have it's accessible without a ticket. Sorry, I got my tongue tied. But this is super important. There's going to be plenty of stuff for you to check in and around the stadium there in terms of merchandise and just seeing what's involved in the world of Street Fighter is really good to see.
And of course, one of the biggest sponsors that we've seen coming out of Japan, Galeria, has been providing high-end PC setups for not even just the events of Street Fighter League, but also a handful of different like esports events that have been going on throughout Tokyo.
A ver cómo será la división de grupos, cómo los elegirán. Porque después de lo que pasó con el Rob y con Brian, que muchos grupos quedaron con grupos de la muerte y Country Kills, en este caso con el grupo de Mena, que estaba también Kava, de Dominician Republic Team Kill.
So big shout outs to Galeria for being a very pivotal part of the FGC this year and for many more years to come, hopefully.
Of course, as well, you can see it on your screen right now. There is a campaign for Street Fighter 6 the model, and the original design postcard and screen background will be included, and I believe it is up until March 31st, 11 p.m. Japan Standard Time. So again, I repeat, 11 p.m. Japan Standard Time on March 31st. So you've still got a month and a half to kind of get in on the action here and be excited for that. So again, you can see the amount of work they've been putting into it. There you go. Hamako is... Oh, that's cold.
Tell me that's not fire.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Because I did like
las chaquetas
the Akuma and Bison on the back of
con
the
la
Capcom Cup
Chun-Li.
11 ones, but this one... Oh.
Can I critique something real quick, Jammers?
La chaqueta.
So last year, it looked a little bit like an enlarged screen grab. This one feels like it's specifically designed for
en la
these types of
chaqueta.
jackets. In terms of like the way the ratio is, like the aspect ratio is in regards to like the framing of the artwork.
El diseñado.
Hold on. That bottom detail too of it saying Street Fighter on the interior of the jacket is kind of cold. By the way, that's kind of cold.
Okay,
There's a lot. There's definitely a lot going on with the artwork, and I'm a fan.
I'll tell you
Y aquí
guys
están
this, right? Vicious is the
los
faction police,
clasificados
he's approving of
EWC,
it, we're
Capcom
good to
Cup
go.
11 y el
Anyway,
Street Fighter
what we're
League
good to go
World
with
Championship
is
Champions.
These 48 players that have qualified
Premier por
for
puntos,
Capcom Cup 12.
World
You'll be
Warriors,
seeing them in less than a month's
EWC,
time.
Capcom
You can
Cup
see there
11
as Vicious
y
alluded
la
to
Street
earlier,
Fighter
the
League.
Premier and Premier point section with all the players that done in the offline circuit. The World Warrior guy, 28 people qualifying from their respective regions. Of course, the EWC defending champion Shanghai is there, and of
Premier,
course, you
MenaRD,
have the
Leshar,
Angrybird taking
Enel,
over for Kakeru because he will be the
Fudo,
replacement for Kakeru.
Miki,
Hopefully
Sahara,
he's doing
Blas,
well.
Hinao.
But we are actually going to be going through the order of looking at the Premier tournament winners first, then the Premier point leaderboard guys. I believe we should be doing the special guests, and then we're respectively breaking down the World War. I believe that's how we should be doing it and checking out the players here.
Sounds about right to me. Already kicking off some of the information. Who doesn't know MenaRD by now? If you guys have been following any sense of competitive Street Fighter, you know who this man is. He's been a part of the topic of the GOAT when it comes to Street Fighter history. I know yourself, Rob TV, as well as Senkola. Sometimes Brian F will get thrown into the mix in regards to who actually is the GOAT. This guy is easily in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. What's that? Look, he's a lightning in a bottle for me. He's literally a lightning in the bottle.
Leshar.
MenaRD, because it is a very rare occasion. And he still needs to get a Capcom Cup in Street Fighter 6, who's also searching for a Capcom Cup title. He has to be in your top 5 Street Fighter 6 players of all time. He's been shifting characters. He's been developing his mentality. He said some things aren't fun without winning. If you checked out the Reject documentary these guys did leading up to SFL World, SFL Japan Championships, you can see it there. Laser sharp ground game, surgical combos. The precision machine sets his sight on the Capcom Cup title. And he came 3rd last year. And he wants to aim higher. Because if you're 3rd, you ain't a winner. And this man is a winner. Looking forward to what Leshar cooks up this year.
Yeah, and it's so difficult to call, right? With how much momentum he's had in the first start, the first 3 majors that he's won going into Street Fighter League Japan. It really is going to be so hard to call going into the final big dance. But NL, talking about consistency, man. I love seeing him around.
NL clasificó por ser el runner-up en el CEO, que lo ganó obviamente Leshar.
Early on, if you had noticed his positioning when it came to some of these big tournaments, he had quite the running. Right, he was involved
y ahora
in
viene Fudo.
CEO, Combo Breaker, definitely involved in EVO as well. Did a pretty solid job over at EWC, and just overall keeping himself like present in regards to like point accumulation thus far. NL, I'm looking forward to seeing who. I want to say who he's going to be bringing to the table, right? Although it says Akuma, he still has a couple of other characters under his sleeve.
Well, I mean, speaking of characters under his sleeve, it is the Blink Respawn winner with Fudo, family man Fudo. We got to give it to him because when I watched this documentary with Fudo in it, he said, I have a greater purpose now that I have a family. And he's coming for everybody's juggler with that Ed, with that DJ. And I tell you what, he's always been one of my sleeper picks for Capcom Cup, but he always somehow finishes in and around 9th place. And because he's here, and you will see him in SFL.
Todas las Capcom Cup que ha entrado Fudo ha terminado siempre en 9º puesto. A ver si se le rompe la maldición.
You want to avoid some of these young guns, don't you, Vicious? Personally, I don't want to fight any of these guys, but if I had to choose, Mickey would probably be one of them. Probably be one of them, I should say. Had an amazing run over at EVO this year, right? A hallmark run with that Cammy. His first time over at EVO, being able to qualify into the Cup via that tournament at only 17. Insane. With a big finish going into EVO. So I'm really kind of curious. He was a part of Street Fighter League US this year, right? Wasn't able to like fully shake things up over there, but he's also been kind of like practicing more so on the side of his home region, being a part of like the big events out there as well.
Speaking of home regions, this young man here, Sahara, part of Good 8 squad, he qualified for Capcom Cup with Ultimate Fighting Arena with that Ed, arguably the strongest character in the game according to the Japanese community. But after he qualified, he decided to do his own scene dirty and win World Warrior 3 and 4 and still stay sharp here. He's been cooking up. I've seen him play some Sagat, I've seen him play some Akuma, but it's very interesting to see what it comes up. But speaking of a Sagat, he's changed the game, Vicious. He's changed the game.
Is that my man Nagoya-kun coming in from EVO France? That's crazy. Is that
segundo puesto en el OWC, segundo puesto en EVO France y segundo puesto en la Capcom Cup 11.
But he has really shaped the way the character plays. And I'm talking about Sagat. Technically, he kind of did the same thing with Ryu, but he is the defining player for the character Sagat, and I kid you not, he is rocking everybody's boat internationally. He is staying sharp. He has proven that he is more than ready to take on everybody at Capcom Cup, especially with that second place finish last year.
But only 2 years younger than him. I wasn't even playing games this good when I was that age, but it is him now. He did win the Fight Club in China, the last premiere event on the offline circuit here, and he has got one deadly Ryu, deadly Luke, and it looks like according to the stat sheet, it is correct because he's put Akuma down there as well. One of the MR phases,
Triple
he's got all
Shoto.
3 of those characters to 2400 MR. And he's figured out something about Drive Rush that I think only people under the age of 16 have figured out. So I'm actually very curious to see how far he goes and where we see
Ok,
youth
se viene la
versus
selección de
experience.
grupos.
So if we do
Van
get a
primero los
chance,
que
when we do
se
see
clasificaron
him
por... Ah, no, aún no. Ahora vienen los de
we can
puntos.
shed
Tenemos a
some light. If
Pug,
not,
a
I'll wait
Momochi,
till we're
a
at the cup so we can talk
Acompañan,
about it in more detail.
Ryukichi,
But hey,
TK y
we got to talk about your boy
Itachi.
Vicious. Let him know.
Yo, he is coming fresh from a big W just a couple of hours ago over at Genesis. And I want to say it's not the W he wanted, but still second place, just falling short to Goichi. He's still looking rather sharp. Majority of the games he's played, although it's not updated on this sheet, has been Ryu. So he will have a Ryu ready and willing to throw down this year at Capcom Cup. Again, being able to qualify the way that he did, it's no doubt that he's going to be bringing a plethora of different characters. And speaking of different characters, Momochi's been doing the same thing. He's been practicing a lot of JP. He's actually qualified via Premier points in second place under Punk. But it's still the same sharp Momochi that you're all well used to at this point if you've been following him for a long time. He's got Ed under his belt. Still, he's got C-Viper just in case, kind of mess around a little bit. But I feel like Ed and JP have been his main 2 primary picks thus far.
Acompañan.
Well, I mean, speaking of someone who was consistent when his character's a little bit off course, it is Kobayan, and I think this guy is going to be a heavy hitter, no pun intended, and a household favorite, simply because he's playing Zangief, and this guy has been trying to get into the cup for a few years, and lo and behold, has he done it. Third place on the Premier points, and he has to be extra meticulous with his matchups, because he's going to be playing one of the weakest characters in the game. Someone who shifted from one of the weakest characters in the game, quote unquote, is Ryukichi. He's built his arsenal. He's got the Mai now. He's got the Ed. He's using Ken as well. But I tell you what, man, this guy's impressed me throughout this year alone. And I've been loving his streams as well. I'm not sure if you've been catching up with him, Vicious.
I've been seeing a lot of his personal streams. I haven't been able to catch up on some of the events he's been participating in around Japan, but I think his Mai has been very, very sharp from what we've seen over at Street Fighter League. I do want to touch up and see how his Ed is looking right now, but moving over to another person who has changed over to a new set of characters, or at least one set of
JP
characters,
también.
JP has been the pick for dual Kevin. Once he's surrounded by a bunch of Zangiefs, best believe this is going to be the character that he's going to resort to. I do believe we saw him over at Frosty Foutsings taking down the team tournament with this combination of characters with his teammates as well. So I'm very curious to see it. I mean, look at this. He's already surrounded by 2 Zangiefs in this picture alone. Best believe he's going to have that JP ready.
He has to, man, and it looks like he's been enjoying the JP as well, but having 2 high technical characters like Rashid and JP, and his brain's not muddled up, dropping the combos of the set play, I tell you what, man, full credit to Dual Kevin, how he's progressed and matured over the years. For someone who has matured beautifully into Street Fighter 6 legacy player, coming with the Zangief and Marisa, is Itabashi Zangief. He was in Capcom Cup 11, unfortunately didn't make it out of the groups. Now, he did come 9th at EVO Japan, and I think EVO Vegas as well. But the reason he's here, I got to bring this up. I'm sorry, everyone, but I got to bring this up. He done my boy Ending Walker dirty. He had the same amount of points as Ending Walker, but he had better results, so he took the offline Premier spot. But it's good to see him here. He's got a ton of fans.
El eSport Champion,
We've got to move on and see our special
Angrybird y los
guests.
Street Fighter League Champions.
That's absolutely right. The only person to do it back-to-back EWC championships. Funny enough, he could have gone for a 3rd title. He got 2nd over at City of the Wolves. But we're talking about Shao Hai.
Sí, perdiendo contra ahora el mejor jugador de hasta ahora ha sido de Wolf, que es Goichi.
Wait, I'm tripping. Let me retract that statement. He did win City of the Wolves, and then he won Street Fighter this year. I'm sorry, it's a little bit late for me. But Shao Hai, qualifying via EWC with a very big "what are you standing up for" moment, called out by Ringe and Yipes, man. I'm very excited to see how he's going to perform with that Mai. And then Angrybird coming into it as the Capcom Cup 11 qualifier because of the fact that Kakeru couldn't make it. 2nd and 3rd place, respectively, Blas and Leshar have already qualified.
Sí, por eso.
So up next after that, Angrybird placing in 4th, he was the one that qualifies through.
So he was actually not sure of his competitive career this year, because he took a step back for a few reasons. He was still playing and he was learning Ryu at the same time, but then the world blessed him and said, hey, we want you to continue playing. and he picks things up. And you actually saw his Ryu in SFL EU.
Ahora vienen los Street Fighter League World Championship
He went back to
2024.
Akuma and showed us why he's one of the best in the business. 4th place at Capcom Cup 11. Some of the world's best only took him down by the wayside. But he's coming here with a vengeance. He's won EVO 2023. Can he get a Capcom Cup under his belt? That's the big question mark there for Angrybird. I've got to talk about this guy because he's been quiet for a little while. Maybe not in Japan. He's been quiet because he's only appeared in about 3 or 4 offline events. He's been cooking up some new tech with that Rashid. I've been keeping an eye on some things. He still has some of the highest practice mode hours recorded on Street Fighter 6. So I'm really looking forward to see what Gachikun cooks up in the Capcom Cup 12. But then we got to look at this another anomaly here, right, Vicious?
Yeah, another one could be said in regards to Pugera, right? He has a handful of different characters that he's been going through, not only in Street Fighter League, we saw him in the playoffs, but also on his streams, right? It's kind of a toss-up as to who he's going to pick for certain characters or who he's going to have ready going forward. But as we progress, Kawano, man, he has been so sturdy with his Akuma, and surprisingly so, still sticking with his character. I think he swapped over to Mai just a little bit, but in terms of like tournament mode settings, it's going to be the Akuma. Then, of course, YHCMochi making it through via the SFL World Championships. He is still going to be rocking that Dhalsim, as he should, because him and Torimeshi have been the only ones really innovating that character within Japan. So I'm very excited to see one of the old heads continuously make it into the big stages. In particular, YHCMochi. I've been watching him for a very, very long time. And I did misspeak earlier, by the way. Xiaohai did get second over at City of the Wolves against Goichi. Let me fix my face. I just wanted to put it out there. But him going into EWC this year, obviously got the big W, hence why he qualified. But yeah, those 4 contenders.
Ahora vienen los de World Warrior. Sí, empezamos con la primera parte de World Warrior.
Pugera and Kawano all are going to be very much so keeping their strategies
Ahí
safe
está el
to
Daiva.
the chest when it comes to character selections and certain matchups to be held.
El Daiva está ahí.
Well, speaking of which, we're going to transition over to the World Warrior qualifiers here. Now, we got he's UK. He's London born and bred. We'll take
Lex.
it. I've got his passport. I know what his details are like. Lex is going to be representing. They put the US, but they put the K. Remember, K comes for S, so you can put the UK there. It's okay. But he's going to be coming to Capcom Cup 12 with the Guile here because he actually got the most consistent results there because the UK was a super region. But then joining him as well, we'll get there in a minute. It should be Ending Walker, which won the regional final. And it's interesting because they were both on the same team for Street Fighter League EU and almost were able to clutch it out, but MIP were able to
Ending Walker, que Lex y Walker se clasificaron obviamente porque su región era Super Region. Lex por puntos y Walker por la Regional Finals.
The only time he lost, I believe,
Ahora
was to
viene
Angrybird.
Kill You.
I think that was the only time he lost. I have to double check the stats. But he's come ready. I was with Problem X the other day hanging out. I said, so what's going on? I want to be a fly on the wall with you guys' conversations. But he said, we're making sure he's ready. We've seen him 5-0 Mena in EWC. So Lord knows what they're cooking up for the cup and what their preparation will be from this point onwards.
Yeah, I wonder if, depending on like the matchup, if it's going to be the Ryu, if it's going to be the Ed, does he have something else ready and prepared? I know he was also participating in a different stream not too long ago, but moving on to Kills You, I feel like this is all of your region.
Por desgracia no podré transmitirla obviamente temprano a la Capcom Cup, tendré que transmitirla obviamente al día siguiente, porque obviamente es muy de noche.
He qualified via the World Warrior, via France Monaco. His transition is actually one to kind of like really talk about, right?
Porque va a ser, ese es el único problema que me choca a veces con transmitir la Capcom Cup en Japón. El horario. Daiva.
Exponential progress going into all of the tournaments that he's been a part of.
Yeah, and then we've got Diver coming up next, coming out of the Spain-Portugal region. This is exactly how he qualified last year for the Capcom Cup, but didn't perform as well as he wanted to. But he's coming back with a vengeance now. Ed's been further optimized. He's got more knowledge on the game. So I think he's become a real heavy hitter within the European region. I haven't really been checking his practice regime, but I'm pretty sure if you're coming to the Cup, you should be as ready as can be. Now here comes... His old nickname in SFL was the Rizzler. He didn't rizz anyone, so he has to bring that nickname over to the Capcom Cup. Now, he has got the Juri, but once he swapped over to Mai, he was a lot more efficient. He was able to overthrow Takamura. He won plenty of the ranking events in the World Warrior leading up to the regional final. He had to overtake Takamura again, but he's ready. And he did say he really wants to be interviewed at Capcom Cup 12. I'm trying to make sure the team doesn't interview him because I'm very worried about what Gen Z lingo he's going to give them. And I really don't want him to do that to the Japanese crowd. But he's super excited to go, and he actually can't wait to be in Japan and play his best.
I can't wait to force Ryan Hart to do all the translations for that. Like, you have like the two big separation of generations plus the language barrier. We'll talk about that another time. Yon Angel coming in from World Warrior Germany. I've actually been able to watch him play and kind of study his JP. He is so creative when it comes to not only his pressure, but also like the mix he presents with some of the
que es originario primariamente de República Dominicana, pero ahora vive en Alemania.
Level 2 setups that we've seen like from
Con
Japan a
JP.
bunch of times over.
Y ahora
But
viene
his
Juicy
overall
Joe.
presence with this character is quite the nuisance. I'm actually really excited to see coming in. I didn't realize that he was now in Germany for like the longest time. To be quite honest with you, I was like, wait, I've seen this name plenty of times in like different regions before.
Well, if you thought his JP was exceptional, let me show you the best JP in Europe with my guy, Juicy Joe. He knows that the juice is worth the squeeze, and he's going to be returning to the Capcom Cup. And
Juicy
he
Joe
will be in SFL World with
tras eso, Big Birdo, que era de esperarse que él se iba a clasificar en su región, tuvo la suerte de que Angrybird se clasificara debido a lo de Kakeru. De lo contrario, solo habría uno de los Birds clasificados.
I think he lost to Angrybird twice in the top 8, but he's going to be looking to rectify that, getting out of the groups and getting a better position as well. And shout outs to his brothers as well. His brothers are massive supporters of watching him play. One of his brothers actively plays with him at high level, JMS with the Dhalsim, but Juicy Joe, he's been cooking. Right, he's been cooking something.
Big
you saw his
Birdo.
Performance. He was key. He came in clutch for Team NIP
Oh,
in
Sagat.
SFLU. He's going to have to bring that back to his individual performances. But we do know the bird of bigs, or the biggest birds.
The biggest bird.
He's here. He's coming back.
Usando Rashid y Sagato.
He said, it says he's playing Sagat. No way he put down Sagat he's playing.
I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't been able to keep up with him on his personal streams. I haven't been able to see the last couple of instances where he was performing with said character. The way he had qualified, obviously, was from the Middle East World Warrior. He had to fight against Hamoud, his Habibi, going into it. And it was Rashid versus mine. It was pretty convincing, right? So I'm not too sure if the Sagat pick is going to be something that's going to be beheld during the event itself, and for what matchup specifically, because I think his Rashid is still very much so top notch. But if it says it on the graphic, I'm inclined to believe it.
I'll tell you guys this before we move on to JBM. I had lunch in Abu Dhabi with Big Bird not too long ago, and I got to drive around in that car everyone was hating on for. It's a beautiful car, by the way. Just letting you guys know. Anyway, JBM, South Africa's hero, he returns to the cup once again. Now, he had a legendary set against Tokido, and actually this is a fun fact. I think our most viewed video in fighting game history might actually be him versus Tokido in South Africa. It's got over 2 million views. I genuinely think as a match video, he might have the most viewed match of all time, but at least Street Fighter 6 anyway. I'd have to double check that. But he's got the Terry ready, and he
Segundo grupo de World Warriors
he had a good chance, but he
No
fumbled
Pedro,
it, and he knows
Kaba,
that I spoke to him at
Armakov,
SFLEU,
Lugabo,
but he's ready.
Shaka,
But now we've
Dashi.
spoken about my region. We now got to talk about the Central South Americans. First up, talk to us, Vicious. Not Pedro.
Not Pedro, right. I actually got the luxury of being able to watch him throughout this season and also see how he had qualified. Obviously, he had qualified via World Warrior Brazil, but he's made plenty of stops within the States showing off that cannon. Now I'm actually kind of curious. I haven't been able to see his Sagat play competitively. However, with the way that he's been practicing with a lot of the Central and South American contingents too, I'm more so thinking it has to be like the Sagat coming through. I'm very much so convinced that he is a very, very solid Sagat player. Going into it though, yo, Kaba, what else can we really say
Nuevo año de
about
regreso para
MenaRD's
Kaba.
brother? Well, not by blood, but by heart and soul.
No, legit. He's a stalwart in the Dominican community, and he's one of the best Gao players in the world. He learns a lot from the other famous Gaos with Lex, Knuckle-Doo, Higuchi as well. But you can't forget about this man. He's had some good results, and he's made sure he sticks at the top level and goes toe-to-toe with some of these guys. Even if he doesn't get statistically the results that he wants, but he's coming here again with a purpose,
Armakov.
and he's got double the trouble to do because
DJ.
he will be with bandits in SFL Worlds as well. But here's a hidden gem, Armor KOF. I haven't heard too much about him, but he's got a DJ, which means he means business.
It's a pretty big deal, right? He had a shot to go into and qualify Capcom Cup last year. He had to face off against Grand Todokai in the, I believe, Central America West Regional Finals. However, going into this year, he had changed it all up upside down, right? His finals versus Destroy Gods was 3-0
Cuando estoy viendo al bicho
for him to
parece ser que
qualify. And
tuviera
I gotta
como
say,
una
man,
marca, una
he was
insignia
looking
ahí en la
insane
frente.
with that DJ. So I'm actually kind of
Y ahora
curious. He
viene
sharpened it up
Lugabo.
from year 1 into year 2, or I guess year 3, I should say. And now
Lugabo.
that he's finally qualified, I think he's going to be ready for it. He's had quite the run for all of his World Warriors.
Lugabo,
Like
de
within
Mexico.
top 4 every single time, and he's won 2 of them.
Well, speaking of someone else who's emerged from their region, usually I'm used to seeing another name come out of this region, but now we've got a new name representing Mexico, and that will be Lugabo. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I have butchered the name. But he's come with the Kimberly,
Única Kimberly clasificada.
which means he's going to upset a lot of people. And I hear he's very young as well. Young and fun, playing Kimberly. That is a recipe to ruin someone's day at Capcom Cup. I'm really looking forward to what this guy done after his consistent results with his World Warrior.
Yeah, most definitely, right? I've seen only like a handful of like his games, mostly just World Warrior, but I've wanted to study a little bit more, which is why I'm glad we'll have a little bit of downtime after this. But one person that has genuinely impressed the hell out of me, Big Shaka, qualifying via South America East from his World Warrior as one of the Dhalsim premier players. Those of you that have been tuning into Street Fighter League US had the luxury of being able to get introduced to this man. When I came into it with Tasty Steve and Ringe and Rob TV, I was thinking to myself, how is Shaka going to perform in this pool of sharks? Easy. He's going to beat the hell out of him, which he did. He had actually a phenomenal run, better than most rookies that join SFL US, with a character that is still heavily underrepresented.
Well, you can see
Venezuela.
there. This is another name. I was watching one of the Japanese commentators do a breakdown of some of these players, and this is where he really went into Tashi's representing Venezuela, using a DJ very similar to Armor KOF. Now, he's sponsored by 2Game. We also know who's sponsored by 2Game, which means your information network is pretty big, and you're not here for no reason. So, this is another guy I have seen as a sleeper pick. Young, he's ready. Remember, we saw last year Limestone.
Solo hay 5
He took a surprise
norteamericanos.
result against MenaRD. What's
Punk,
to say that Tashi
DK,
can do the
Knuckle
same
Dude,
thing
Jack,
against
y
someone
Christy.
of the veterans in Capcom Cup 12? Speaking of veterans, though, talk
Knuckle
to him.
Dude.
What else can we actually say about my man Knuckle Dude? Right, qualifying via World Warrior for US Canada East.
Usando
He
en
had
mayor
made that
parte
transition
Mai.
over to Mai. He had fully locked in. He put away all of the Pokemon cards for Street Fighter League US and for the continuation of his road to Capcom Cup 12. He said it on stream. I'm not making it up. He stopped pulling packs, and then immediately after, I think it was like 2 or 3 months afterwards, he opened a couple of packs. But who's to really judge him? Knuckle Dude is easily one of the more like defining characters that we have in the FGC. Right, one of the premier players, one of the most talented players that we could ever ask for within his region. I think he's still pretty much sturdy with the Mai up until this point with the handful of different events. He was also at Frosty's, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Just a Kid, formerly known as Just a Kid, I should say. It's full-on Jack now. The Stair Master is what they're calling him now in Japan. You know that?
You give this guy too much camera time, it gets to his head, and then you kind of live off that personality you've kind of created for yourself. I don't blame him. If you're good and they put the camera in front of you, live it up. He's doing it. He's bringing the Juri. He's brought the Mayas back up as well, but he wants to make sure he performs better than he did last year. Now, this is an interesting name because he qualified via US, Canada West, and the last time he was at Capcom Cup,
que vuelve otra vez a la Capcom Copa. Con Ken solo, usando solo Ken, el señor Christie. Y ahora creo que viene Asia. World Warrior Asia.
other Capcom Cup competitors,
no,
even
hacia
within the realm
Oceania.
of this year, right? We've had JB, who's been a part of the big stage, Nephew, both within the realm of their respective World Warrior runs, and they were very convincing W's, by the way. This man, Chris Terry, had also taken the opportunities to travel out to Japan, study under Momochi and a handful of other players coming in from the Bandits camp to ensure that he is ready for not
Hacia
only
Oceania,
that
empezando primero
ridiculous finals
con el
run
lado de Asia
for
normal.
US Canada West, but also for Capcom Cup, and also being a significant
Primero
part of
con
SFL for the Bandits
Biexbao.
camp. Now, moving into even more of the World Warrior qualifiers, coming in from Asia and Oceania. First and foremost, VXBao. Listen, man, I don't know what characters he's going to be bringing up every single time. You can see it right there. M.Bison, Ed, Mai, all very well-rounded. But I feel like he hasn't found his big shining moment just yet, right? He's been dominant short in his region over in Asia for the points. But I want to know what he's going to do now to fix, I guess, his strategies, or at least like what he's going to be bringing, what type of presence he's going to have with these characters in the
ahí
lieu
veo al
of
Travis.
the other ends, the other guys going forward.
Well, bear in mind with
Wow.
VXBao, just quickly, he
Clasificado
actually didn't
de
make
las
out of
finales
groups last year because of a
del
game
World Warrior
differential.
China.
Shout out to my boy Broski. So he's going to be looking to change that this year. But he is a real world traveler, gallivanting
Wow.
the world. He hadn't need to gallivant the world this time around because he could stay at home in the comfort of his own home and qualify there. Is man like Jawa using the Mai. I was actually surprised when I saw his name qualify because he is a very strong player, but the Chinese scene has stepped up immensely throughout Street Fighter 6.
Como
And there
dice
are names
Hugo
that
Sena.
overshadow his name, but the fact that he emerged victorious there and was able to qualify is really beautiful to see, and he done it via the regional final. So his consistency and his persistence with the experience
que
of
fue
10,
offline,
15 plus
súmale
years
eso.
in Street Fighter alone, it's
Señor
going to be something that
Jammers.
people can't sleep on.
Rain Pro?
And this was kind of like a half and half, right? Because you got Rain Pro over in your side of the pool every so often, your side of the pond, I should say. But technically coming in from Hong Kong, right? He had actually qualified via World Warrior Asia East. He had to face off in the slew of different World Warriors there, including Hot Dog. He has been in that grand finals, for the last 2 weeks of the Asia region, if I'm not mistaken, and had qualified via the points. Just so dominant as well. He also had to face off against Mickey, if I'm not mistaken, during the very first one. But in terms of his overall performance over at the World Warrior, it's been a very sturdy average of first place, first to third.
Hot Dog con Bison y con Zagato.
Rain Pro's a serious competitor, man, so don't sleep on him. But also from his hometown as well is Hot Dog returning to Capcom Cup. Now, he has been practicing Sagat recently. Myself and Vicious are going to sound like parrots here because a lot of the community are practicing Sagat in preparation for the Cup. But his main character is M.Bison. He had a crazy match in Group A against Punk last year, but he's coming back and making sure, again, another player who wants to outperform what he did last year.
Tras eso, Tarkorgi, una de las únicas Sea Vipers.
I've been keeping an eye on him because I play a certain secret agent in Street Fighter myself.
He's so sick, Jammers.
Dude,
his Sea Viper is mad aggressive. He's got some crazy setups too that are so difficult to contest against, bro. When he dishes out damage, he makes sure it hurts, and he has all the Twitter tech rolled up into one bunch. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm also studying the hell out of this guy because I'm also playing the same secret agent. I'm very much so excited to see Korgi represent this character, Sea Viper, and also representing himself from South Korea.
Because he's playing a volatile character, it's a double-edged sword here for me. Because I need to see who he's going to be paired with. That's my biggest concern with him. But hey, he's going to be representing Korea there, South Korea specifically. So I'm very excited to see what he does with Sea Viper. But hey, this guy, I love it. I was watching his stream when he qualified, and he had no idea that he qualified after he won. But it is Higuchi. Look, he's a veteran at this point. We've been watching him since he's probably 17, 18. He's now in his early mid-20s. And this guy, he redefines solidity. And the fact that he done it through the hardest region to qualify with the World Warrior Super Region for Japan, you will be seeing Higuchi in his first ever Capcom Cup. Can you believe that we're saying that? His first ever Capcom Cup appearance. And does he want to make it a memorable one? Well, I'm sure he'll show us when the time comes down to it.
Yeah, I still remember watching that replay, and I was getting kind of emotional for him because, yeah, like as much as he was in disbelief, all the other commentators were like, "Yes, really, you've made it." They were trying to like make like side comments, and I thought it was like a lovely, really wholesome time watching that stream. But also, so I never realized that like I followed this guy for a very long time on Twitch. I forgot who he was using initially, but watching him like transition over to Terry, that's what it was, right? So I had found this Terry stream randomly, but I couldn't read the letters on it. I didn't realize that was the same guy I've been following for so long. Kincho, representing himself over from the World Warrior events. These were insane. You were talking about it earlier, right? One of the hardest regions to qualify out of. He had done it against Tori Meshi, right? Beating the brakes off of them with Terry. And I was, you know what? I was like, yo, everything that he shows off on stream, he's very transparent about like what he's practicing and what characters he's preparing for. I'm very happy to see him on the big stage. I have never really seen him at a big time event, so it's going to be interesting to see how he performs.
Another name we got to see who's going to be interested to see how he performs. He returns to Capcom Cup once again, representing Singapore. Beautiful country, by the way. If you haven't been there, please go and check it out. It is an absolutely beautiful country, one of the best airports in the world. But it is bravery. He's coming back to the cup. Now, normally when we talk about Singapore, we think of Brandon, we think of Sian. But bravery is the guy that's always showing up at the cup in recent times. It's just so we can't keep sleeping on this dude. His playstyle, one of the most explosive, one of the most aggressive guys we have in the scene. And sometimes that does let him down, but it's a surprise a few people. But speaking of surprises, I think this guy is the biggest surprise of them all. Word on the street is, coming from South Asia, is Raihan. I believe that's how you pronounce
Modern Elena.
He's using Modern Elena. That's what we saw when he qualified.
Only modern player. Modern Elena, modern Jamie, modern Luke.
I couldn't tell you. Not like one single fact about Modern specifically, right? In terms of the
Usa tres personajes en Modern. Modern Elena, Modern Jamie y Modern Luke.
Was also a Capcom Cup qualifier seat, Anik, right? There have been multiple instances where they had to face off against each other over at their World Warrior region, and it was easily in Anik's favor up until the moment of the grand finals where he busted out the big Elena in back-to-back big W's against both, like, I think it was Akuma and Bison. So very excited to see it. Who is that model up on my screen? Yo, Travis Styles. I'm very happy to see that he had qualified towards the latter half of the year. Easily one of the most like entertaining people to watch in terms of like the tournaments they hold out over in the Oceania region. I love the fact that he's also transitioning over to his Chun-Li, obviously extremely sturdy. But seeing him have fun with his character, it feels great. I love seeing him in back-to-back Capcom Cup. Well, not back-to-back, but just another Capcom Cup performance.
Yeah, his last appearance was Capcom Cup 10, and of course he was there. But he needs more firepower now, and he's got the firepower. He lost to Seoul last year, I think, for Capcom Cup, or qualified for Capcom Cup. But this is what it is turning out to be. Look at that, 13 players are representing Japan on home soil.
13 japoneses, 3 coreanos, 3 chinos, 3 de Hong Kong, un singapureño, un bangladesh, un australiano, 2 dominicanos, 6 estadounidenses, un panameño, un mexicano, un brasileño, argentino, chileno, venezolano, español, británico, francés, neozelandés, alemán, 2 de Emiratos Árabes Unidos, y acá veamos, se viene la selección.
I believe we got word from the voice of reason as to what we're waiting for. Is that right?
Se viene la ruleta, se viene el armado de grupos.
It's definitely lottery time. It's actually going to be a gacha mode on, starting with Hamiko. Now, this is the best part about our jobs, is that now the internet can't go after us in terms of any sort of death bracket that happens. Shout outs to our predecessors, Rob TV, Brian F, my man Ringe. I know you guys had to handle it, and I'm glad that you did the way you did. And obviously the energy is missed. But now you know, you guys can all blame Aru and Hamiko and the entire JP production.
Y así va a estar ordenado. Los grupos van a estar armados de esta forma. De 4 jugadores parece ser que vamos a tener 2 offline en cada lado. Luego uno de Asia, los grupos A y C van a ser primero de Asia o Oceania. El grupo de AF van a tener Central América y Sudamérica. El grupo F también va a tener un Asia Oceania, pero los otros grupos de abajo van a ser de M, o sea, Europa. Así que sigamos.
Thank you guys for taking the initial sacrifices, and your work is definitely missed and appreciated. That is for sure.
That's crazy.
Van a ser grupos de
How
6.
empathetic. Or
Seis
how
jugadores.
sympathetic of you. Like, yeah, I understand, painful job, but
Así que va a haber sí o
it's your
sí
fault,
dos
not mine.
asiáticos.
Anyway,
But this is the breakdown, right? We're going to be drawing from the gotcha machine, or I guess the transparent box of impending doom.
Y ahí está. Ah, no, hay más, van a ser grupos de 4, van a ser más grupos. En vez de ser grupos de 6, van a ser grupos de 12. Grupos de 12 van a ser.
And going into right now, Hamiko doing his best gotcha machine impersonation. Pretty well done. I gotta say, his form is top notch.
all right. Just to mention as well, it will be from, I believe, Group A through to Group H will have 2 offline players featured in them, and then from Group I to L will only have 1
L.
offline player. But
L,
the name's
12
coming out.
grupos.
What's his first name?
A ver,
Yeah,
¿qué
he's
tenemos?
making sure he doesn't. What's he got?
Offline.
Hold on. Can I see it? What does that say?
Shanghai en el grupo A.
A way to start? No. You can't start the day like that. You cannot start the day with the EWC.
Shanghai ya automáticamente en el grupo
Hold
A.
on. Can I break the fourth wall a little bit? Am I allowed to break the fourth wall? So
Ok, esto es de
they were
4.
practicing this just to make sure that everything went like according to plan, so that Hamiko like went through the motion, and even like one of the stagehands like in the production team was like trying to check out all the names and all that. So they handed the first ball to Hamiko during the rehearsal, and it was Shanghai first. That's the second time he got picked first.
Y a ver, Kawano en el grupo.
Hold on.
Kawano en el grupo
Kawano
B.
is gonna be the first name in Group B. Okay. So remember, we knocked these names off because there's a lot of guys here.
Si algo sale mal,
It will
culpar
start to get
obviamente a
interesting
los
when there's
comentaristas.
2 names in a group already. That's when it will start to get really interesting.
¿El que sigue?
Of course. This is just the preliminaries.
¿Quién viene ahora? Grupo C. MenaRD en el grupo C.
MenaRD filling in for Group C as the first competitor.
Menardo en el grupo
what the
C.
death bracket was last year, because I'm looking at like the groups right now, and I still feel like all of them are pretty stacked, but hard to tell.
Viene el grupo D
There
ahora.
was one with
It wasn't
Xiaohai
Group
kills
E.
you, Juicy Joe, Knuckle Do. I can't remember what the
Group
other
G,
person was. in that
that's
group.
what it was. Yeah,
That was
so it was like
that was
Juicy
the
Joe,
dangerous one.
Xiaohai, kills you, Kaba, Knuckle Do, and Nephew.
That's the one.
I don't know. Group E had Fudo, MenaRD,
Grupo
Limestone,
D.
Chrissy CH,
En el-
That wasn't too bad. Okay. And now steps up there. Oh, also again, I'm probably gonna
En el
regurgitate
grupo
this
D.
a few times. Remember,
En el grupo
no
E.
changes to the groups, even if the players are from the same region. So we've seen NL there. If for
¿Quién
some
está en el
odd
grupo
reason
E?
someone else gets there that he knows, we can't change it because they've officially.
DK.
Kevin.
Right on. Dual Kevin.
Dual
Midwest,
Kevin
stand up for your boy.
en el
Now,
grupo E.
One of the biggest changes also that we never really had the time or chance to mention. Obviously, you see all these
Grupo
groups.
F?
Last year, we only had from A to H, right? Going in from A to L this time, we have 4 players per group, right? In comparison to the 6 we had last year.
Angrybird.
Okay. Angrybird. Okay. This is gonna be interesting. He's gonna be in Group F. Yeah. So he's going to be paired with a South American and someone from the Asia region. I think that's also important to highlight as well.
Emirate Arabic
When you
United.
drop
No, it
down
makes
to
a lot
the
of sense.
bottom half, the region will change. Yeah.
Vamos
Drop
con
down
más.
because, again, the North
Oh,
American
va a haber un
division
cambio acá
will
con
change
los
to
grupos
L.
I, J, K y L solo van a tener un offline.
And you have one
Un
less
jugador
offline
offline.
competitor to worry about.
Hasta el H
right?
son
It's
2
like, if there's
offline.
any sort of like accolades to really
I,
consider.
J, K y L solo van a
It's those
tener
that have
un
traveled
offline.
throughout
A
the
ver, ¿quién va a ir al
season
grupo G?
for some of these really stacked and heavy-handed offline events.
¿Quién estará en el G?
Going in for Group G.
Gachikun en el grupo G.
It's in the name, baby. Group G for Gachikun. Starting things off at the top. Now he has to face off against another offline competitor, another Central and South America competitor, as well as Asia and Oceania. So there is a chance, obviously, for him to face off against another Japanese player, right? All things considered, we saw like the big representation. 13 players overall coming in representing Japan.
Grupo H.
Yes, 13. It would be kind of funny if 2 Ryu players got in the same group or 2 Ed players got in the same group. I think that'd be pretty funny.
It's possible.
Grupo
We
H,
have
¿quién
Fudo
más?
and Sahara. If you think
Yeah.
about it in terms of a
Leshar as
premier
well.
tournament, and Leshar, technically. Yeah.
Leshar en el grupo H.
You know? Okay, so that's not happening anymore. He owns his own group, Group H. It is definitely Leshar. It's funny that
O
you say
sea
that because
que
I
aún
always forget
quedan
that he
un
is
hueco
from South
para
Korea.
y
But he's been, like,
JKL
living
de
in
un
Japan
solo
for the
offline.
last, like,
Y
I
ahí
think
eso
this-
creo que es
this
un
whole
terreno un
year,
poco
you know,
más
I think.
seguro
It's
que
wild to
tener
say,
dos
but he
offlines.
gets his own group, so that possibility no
Y también
longer
está
happens
Blas,
for
que
Group
también está
G, but
clasificado
everybody
offline.
else, in the Group H side, I wish you the best. I wish you the
I
best.
wish you the best.
Dude,
He
I'm
is so
telling you,
evil,
man.
this vicious.
A ver,
Nah, he's
¿quién va al
literally
grupo
vicious,
I?
no pun intended. I'm dead. Oh, hold on.
Punk en el grupo I.
Oi.
Okay.
So, the second American chosen thus far, if I'm not mistaken, and
Punk.
also
Yeah.
with a region of his own, or sorry, a group of his own that doesn't have another offline qualifier.
En vez de ser
He
grupos de
choice
grupos de
Central
6
and South
jugadores, o
America
sea,
and
8 grupos de 6,
Asia,
van a ser
Oceania.
12 grupos de 4.
See, interesting.
O sea que eso va a ser más largo aún.
Fudo still hasn't been called.
Grupo
Nor has
J,
he now. I'm interested. I'm interested.
Same with
Mickey.
Sahara as well, right?
Okay.
I like that.
Mickey.
Back-to-back picks on 2 camis thus far.
Mickey en el grupo J. Vamos con el
At
K.
least it's not like camis in the same group. Not trying to, not trying to jinx it. I'm gonna knock on wood just in case,
Grupo K.
Going into Group K.
Hinao.
Now, there he is.
Hinao en el grupo K.
I'm just, he's one of my dark horses. I think he can go really far, so I'm just curious to see.
¿Y quién se va al grupo L ahora?
Because his roster, they're
Para
Shoto
por ahora
or Luke
finalizar
Shoto-esque,
los
he's got
grupos
Ryu and
I
Akuma.
a L.
People should be worried about this kid. And because he's
¿Quién estará en el grupo L? Como el único representante offline. Buenas, Iron. Recién empezó la votación. Están poniendo por ahora los que son del offline. Y Tabashi en el grupo L.
Same goes for him.
Se salva de
I
tener dos
don't know,
offline.
like, how to really classify him right now. I haven't been able to like stay in tune deeply
Por eso
with
yo me traje acá una
his current
lapicera
performances, or at least on
y un
his stream.
cuaderno para
I
anotar
kept playing
todo. Ya están
ranked,
por ahora los...
practice out.
Van a
He
ser
did
en
have,
vez
like,
de
the performance over
8
at
grupos de
SFL
6,
Japan.
van a ser 12
Zangief and
grupos de
Orisa,
4.
Itabashi Zangief has been in a really interesting spot for him, but
Y
he's still
Tazan en
qualifying,
el
right?
grupo
He's
L,
here
o sea,
in
los que
Capcom Cups well.
les tocó,
I just
los
wanna
que
know
solo tienen
what he's
un,
gonna do with the
un
rest of
hueco
his
para
record going into it. So we'll see.
un offline,
We'll
se
see if,
salvaron.
the
Los que
gods
tienen de
confirm
2
in terms of
aún
the
están un
matchups he
poco
actually wants to
jodidos.
play against.
Y MenaRD está en el grupo C.
Hey,
Shanghai está en el A. Kawano en el B, MenaRD en el C, Enel en el D, DK en el E, Angrybird en el F, Gachikun en el G y Leshar en el H. Y ahora viene la segunda vuelta de clasificados offline. ¿Quién va a estar junto a Shanghai en offline? Blas. ¡Madre mía! ¡Madre mía! ¡Madre mía!
Way, dude.
Blas y Shanghai en el mismo grupo. Ya empezamos con el grupo de la muerte.
You can't. Thank you guys for tuning into the stream. We gotta go.
Blas y Shanghai en el mismo grupo.
It's not
Joder.
even just like these two players. It's the
¿Quién va a
fact
estar
that they
ahora
were
junto con
just playing
Kawano?
each other.
Madre mía.
They were just playing off against each other a few days ago.
Madre mía. La que se va a armar
It
en
was the
Twitter.
GTW New Year
¿Quién va a estar
Championship.
ahora con Kawano?
I'm sure the commentators are saying the same thing.
¡Fudo!
Fudo.
Fudo y Kawano en el mismo grupo.
Dude, what is going on? Do you know what? If you want to add salt to injury,
A ver quién está, va a estar ahora con
Momochi in that
MenaRD.
group. With Mena right now, put Momochi in that group. Please, please. If Momochi
Falta que Momochi
comes
esté con
out,
Mena.
I'm
No
gonna-
maldigas, Jammers. Mochi.
Okay.
YHCMochi.
Mochi? I didn't realize you said
No, I said
Momochi.
Momochi. I said
Okay,
Momochi.
I thought you said Mochi. I'm like, excuse me? You are a warlock. That is
Hostia,
crazy.
Dhalsim matchup.
I
MenaRD
thought you
tuvo problemas
called
en
it.
el
I
Dhalsim
was
matchup
about
la
to
última
say,
vez cuando
I
estuvo en el
have
Evo
no
Vegas.
affiliation or association
Mochi
with
casi
this
lo
man.
tira a
Jammers,
losers.
Twitter
¿Quién va a estar
gang?
ahora con
I
Enel?
would have done the whole thing.
Whoa.
Sahara.
Okay. Oh, okay. So apparently we got word that we have Aru is scolding Hamako for making Japan or Japanese players in the same group. I don't make the rules. We don't make the rules, bro.
At least it was Fudo, and it wasn't like Kawano versus Sahara. You know what I mean? Or Pugera.
Sí, Gura Squad Team Kill. A ver quién va a estar con Dual Kevin. Pugera.
Ah, okay.
Al menos no es un Zangief.
Pugera, Dual Kevin in the same group. Okay, he'll take his chances there. Both of them will.
Ahí está.
Both of them will, exactly.
¿Quién va a ir ahora con Angrybird en el grupo F?
Okay, you got to put Momochi in this group. Momochi's got to be here because the Evo match that Angrybird and Momochi had in 2024, I think, that was sensational. You've got to let him run it back, surely.
A ver, ¿quién va a ir contra Angrybird?
I personally want to see.
Okay,
Veamos.
Where's he got? Talk to me.
Momochi. Se
You're
cumplió.
crazy. All right, now it's scripted. This guy's insane.
Maldito Vicious, tenías que ser Nostradamus para adivinar eso y decir que Momochi iba a estar con Angrybird.
I almost hit you with the Injanai. I almost did it, bro. You almost hit me.
Y aún quedan 2 huecos offline
There we
aún.
go.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Grupo G vamos ahora. ¿Quién va a estar
apparently
con
I'm gonna get
Gachikun?
arrested for rigging a group. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think somebody's gonna be knocking on your door real soon. A couple of special agents.
¿Quién va a quedar ahora con
Make sure to hide all the
Gachikun
rest
y
of your
Leshar?
cheesecakes.
Y queda
Actually, I
Kobayan.
can give him up first. That's
A
fine.
ver, ¿quién va contra
So the last two,
Gachikun?
obviously, Kobayan and Ryukichi.
¡Kobayan!
Kobayan is going to be the one filling in as a second offline slot for Group G against Gachikun. Zangief versus Rashid. It didn't happen to Dual Kevin. It's now on Gachikun's lap.
Y por defecto, ¿quién
That's
queda para el
because
grupo
Kobayan does a really good job
H?
against a lot
¿Con
of the Rashid
Leshar?
players out in Japan.
Well, Zangief still, like, pretty much beats him pretty well, or pretty convincing.
By
I'm
default.
pretty sure Gachikun will be prepared as much as he can be, but
Queda Ryukichi contra
He will
Leshar.
be in the same group as one of the world's best, but Ryukichi is no slouch himself. I'll be very curious to see what matchup he'll go for, because
Así
Leshar
que
doesn't
por ahora
normally
2
go
de los
for the
jugadores
egg
en cada
mirror. He
grupo,
did go
bueno,
for it a
excepción
couple
de,
of
los,
times
de la otra mitad,
in,
ya está completo.
SFL Japan,
Ahora
but he
vienen los
does
de
have a
Asia,
carry in
el
the
grupo
back
AC,
pocket.
Asia
As you can see,
Oceanía, el
the
grupo
Capcom Cup 12
DAF, no,
These
DA,
are all your
hasta
offline
ahí
players
van ahora
via
los de
the automatic
Centroamérica,
wins, or
Sudamérica
the premier points, or the special
y
guests.
grupos
They've now been allocated
JAL,
a
Norteamérica
group.
y
It's
sí,
like hands
Norteamérica.
out thus far.
If you're looking at it from like a commentary perspective or an analyst perspective, like which is your group of death right now? Personally, I want to say possibly Group B, having Kawano and Fudo in it, both extremely heavy hitters. Possibly Group H, but Group A actually might just be the highlight. But it's so tough to say it because like Shanghai and Blas
Sí.
have so much history within the
Yo
last
digo que
couple
es
of
entre el
days,
Group
but,
A,
yeah, I think it
el
has to be
Group,
Group A, right?
el Group P
For
y
me,
el Group
it's Group
F,
A,
me parece
but
para mí que van a ser
very
los
close to
grupos de la
Group A,
muerte.
Group F, Angrybird
Porque
and
Grupo A tiene a Shanghai y a
just
Blas,
because
Grupo
of
C
the
tiene a
knowledge
Mochi y a MenaRD
and just the
y
technical
Grupo
prowess
F
both
tiene a
those
Angrybird
guys
y a
have at
Momochi.
this kind of level here. Momochi hasn't been in the cup for a long
Y ahora
time,
vamos
so
con
people
el
might
grupo,
be unfamiliar
con
with
la
Momochi's
segunda
tactics. You can
sección.
watch him, but how often are you guys bumping into him? And when he really wants to get going, remember he's a Capcom Cup champion himself. People forget that with Momochi.
Vamos
right? So
ahora
I think this guy's ready.
con
But now we're going to my region next, so I'm gonna
EMEA.
watch my peoples suffer. Are they gonna put Ending
EMEA,
Walker in?
Europa y Middle East.
It's Ending Walker or Joe? Ending Walker or Joe?
A ver,
Let me
¿quién
see,
va
let me
ahora?
see. Talk to me.
Serna en el grupo I. Serna contra Punk. Mai.
Okay,
That's pretty big, all things considered. In terms of like the character selection, I'm already thinking about it, like with Mai and Juri. That's gonna be a tough one, I feel
You'll
like.
have to pick. He'll have to pick Mai against Punk because Punk might go Cammy.
Grupo J. Lex en el grupo J.
Lex and Mickey. Haven't they played before? I'm almost certain these guys have played before on the big stage, but I'm gonna double check just in case.
Punk contra
It
Serna.
might have been
Otra
Evo
vez my
2025,
matchup para el pobre Punk,
maybe. Vegas.
que le está
It might
dando
have
un
been,
asco
not
tremendo el matchup de Mai.
but now-
Después de perder
now's
tantas
gonna
veces
get a young
contra
one, he has
Nakatu.
to.
Grupo K. Joder, qué asco de publicidad asquerosa. Odio los anuncios de publicidad. Volvemos. A ver, ¿quién iba? Killju en el grupo K.
Excuse me? Excuse me, Jammers? Hey man, I don't know how much extra you're getting paid to call these brackets like that, but hey, stop, man. Can you keep it down?
Ya está.
You know what? I should just.
No, no es necesario, porque a veces no confío mucho con esos, con las aplicaciones que bloquean anuncios, porque después YouTube te sale que no puedes bloquear anuncios. Y después me pueden cerrar el canal. Prefiero comerme los anuncios que usar un bloqueador. ¿Y quién va a ir al grupo L junto con Itabashi? ¡Daiva! Pobre Daiver. Pobre Daiver. Pobre Daiver, le tocó en el grupo, en el mismo grupo que Ita-san. Y Ita-san tiene todo el conocimiento del matchup de Eda. Pobre Daiver. Seguimos con EMEA.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think you're relishing the moment.
Ok, seguimos con EMEA. Ahora vamos con el grupo A. Volvemos a EMEA. A ver, ¿quién va a estar junto a Xiaohei y a Blas? ¿De EMEA?
But who will be joining Group A?
Juicy Joe.
Oh, no, okay, we're done. We're done. No, that's it. Guaranteed.
Juicy Joe en el grupo A. Madre mía.
He's got an Akuma. Ed. He used to play Ed. He's very good against
Pobre
Akuma.
Walker.
I know Angrybird did
Se va
beat him
junto con
against
Kawano y
Akuma,
Fudo.
but he's got
Ahora vamos con el grupo C. ¿Quién va a estar junto con MenaRD y Mochi? ¿Quién va a estar junto con Mena y Mochi? Presiento que va a ser Big Bird. Siento que va a estar Big Bird en el grupo C. No sé por qué lo presiento. No. ¡Dilo, ¿por qué tenía que abrir la boca? ¿Por qué tenía que abrir la boca y decir Big Bird?
Yo, even Group C is looking kind of spicy.
This is looking long. This is looking long.
Tenía que haber abierto la boca y decir Big Bird en el grupo C. Vamos con el grupo D. ¿Quién va a estar junto con Enery y Leshar? No, Enery y Sahara. Japan.
Oh no, okay. He's got NL. I actually love this for Johnny. I can see it happening, but he's got a
South
lot
Africa.
of work
Japan en el grupo D. Ahora vamos con el grupo I. Y el último que queda. By default. Que es Johangel. Johangel en el grupo E.
Pugera. He's gonna have to put on quite a show. Jill Kevin's got a JP, so you can't catch him by surprise. But Pugera, how ready is he for him?
Johangel ya no. Pugera se sabe el matchup de JP.
I'm not too sure how many of the JPs he gets to like participate or like play off against, but there are like a handful of really solid JPs.
Pobre Johangel. Le toca contra Pugera y DK. Pero el que tuvo la peor mala suerte va a ser Juicy Joe, porque tiene que pelear contra Blas y contra Xiaohei. Y Walker también tiene mala suerte, porque le toca contra Fudo y Kawano. Ahora vamos con Celtar South America, empezando desde el grupo D, para así terminar el grupo D. A ver, ¿quién les va a tocar en el grupo D junto con el Sahara y Japan? Aquí vamos.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. It's 3 strikes and you're out of 2, so I've got to be careful now.
Shaka. Shaka en el grupo D.
I wanted it because I wanted to see the way he. Right, listen,
grupo D completado. Va a tener en él Sahara, Japan y Shaka. Vamos ahora en el grupo E.
I'm just gonna say to production, come on. Nah, he's done it.
¿Quién va a estar en el grupo E? Junto con DK, Pugera y Johangel.
I'm just trying to soften the blow against you, bro. Listen, we wouldn't be friends if we didn't do this, right?
Kaba.
Alright, speaking of, we got Kaba here. Hold on, what?
Kaba en el grupo E.
Oh my word. No way.
hold on.
Grupo D y
Tough
están
group for
completados.
Kappa. That's actually a tough group. Yeah, that's really
Viene ahora el
tough.
grupo F.
You got two JPs. You got Pugera, who's pretty versatile. He's a solid player, but
Grupo F.
character-wise, the odds look against him.
¿Quién va a estar en el grupo F?
I think
Junto
Kevin's
con
gonna be
Angrybird y
looking
Momochi.
for Rashid for that matchup specifically, right?
Dashi.
Ah, the DJ coming in. Tashi coming in for Group F against Angrybird and Momochi.
Joder, pobre
I don't
Dashi.
know how I feel about that, genuinely.
Bastante mal para él,
Against,
porque le
like,
toca
Angrybird
con
and
dos
Momochi.
oponentes súper fuertes. Y ahora
Momochi's
vamos
got a
con
good
el
track record against
grupo...
DJ, no matter what character he plays. Angrybird, Angrybird will instill his style, but I think
Aún quedan
Tashi
tres
will be
spots.
pretty excited to actually relish in the challenge,
A ver,
regardless of the state.
vamos con el grupo G.
I thought, I felt like it was like the DJ that actually.
¿Quién va a
like,
estar en el grupo G junto con
halted
Gachikun y
Momochi from
Kobayan?
winning, like, respawn because of Fudo coming into it. But maybe I'm misremembering.
I'm not sure. We'd have to fact check
No
that.
Pedro.
Not Pedro. Oh, you know what? He's got chances here. No, because of his roster, he's got chances here. Only because he's added
Zangief
Zagak
y
to the
Rashid.
roster. He's actually got a good chance in this group. Not Pedro.
I can see that. I can see that for sure against Rashid.
Vamos
I think I like
ahora
both
con
these
el grupo
characters, though,
H.
against Rashid personally.
¿Quién va a estar en el grupo H?
I guess
Quedan
it has to be-
Armakov y
even
Lugabo.
Hamiko was kind of calling it right now. He's like, it has to be Lugabo, right?
Lugabo en el grupo
Yeah, there
H.
you go. Oh, okay, right. Production, you have to get him as well. He called it before he pulled the name out. He's got the name in his hand.
Yeah.
Talk to
That's,
production.
Hamiko
Y
is
por default,
definitely
eso
in
quiere
contention
decir
as
que
well.
Armakov va a ir al grupo I junto con Punk y Serna.
So that just leaves. So obviously Lugabo in the slot with Ryukichi and Leshar. Obviously Arma KOF is going to be running against Punk and Zerna. Really now.
Buah.
Okay. Do you know what?
Es porque el stream original se está transmitiendo desde el canal japonés. Y esta es obviamente la retransmisión, pero desde el canal en inglés. O sea, originalmente esta votación se está haciendo desde Japón, pero obviamente se está haciendo un co-stream desde el canal inglés, para los que no tienen japonés. Ok, vamos ahora con Norteamérica. ¿Quién va a ir al grupo J junto con Mickey y Lex? Ya que tenemos a Jack, a Nakdu y a Chris Tatarian. ¿Quién va a estar en el grupo J junto con Mickey y Lex? Christy.
Oh, that is sick. That is sick. That is sick.
Yo, what's crazy is so just right off the cuff, right?
Usa
Lex is
country
gonna
kill
have
entre
mad
Lex
intel
y
coming in
Chris
against
Tatarian.
Vegetarian just because of JP by default.
A ver, Jack o Du.
Right, because like JB had to face off against
Jack
them in like
o
one of the
Du.
grand finals of like World
Veamos.
War and consistently play off against them even
¿Quién
before
se va
the
al grupo
finals,
K?
right?
Nakdu.
No.
En el grupo K.
Kills you a knuckle do.
Wait. Hold on. Hold the phone. These two were in the same group last year. I swear these two were in the same group last year.
Eso quiere decir que
You are
Jack se va al
correct.
grupo L.
Yeah, Knuckle Do and Kills You were in Group G last year.
There you go.
What happened? What?
Jack en el grupo L junto con Itasan y Daiva.
Oh, mate.
He has
And
to
then,
do
of
it
course,
again.
our last name. Yeah.
Jack.
And then I'm getting too excited for this. And then our last name, Jack. He's going to be in the same group as Diver and Itabashi Zangief. Now, he wasn't able to make it out.
Ahora
of his
viene
group
Asia y
last week,
Oceania para
but
completar los grupos.
with the odds here,
Los grupos
Marisa
D.
Zangief, Ed, he's
El
got a
grupo
fine
D
part of
y
the
E están
repertoire as
completados.
well.
En él, Sahara, Japhim
I think
y
these are
Shaka.
good odds for
Y
Jack.
TK, Pugera, Johangel y Kaba. Uy, ahora viene la
I feel like,
última
again,
parte.
Diver being like the dark horse of the group. Just for me personally, just based off of like the amount of times I've been able to like watch him play, I can have some confidence in Jack, but Diver might just
Ok,
give him, like,
hora de finalizar el grupo A. ¿Quién va a estar en el grupo A junto con
Alright, this will seal
Xiaohai,
the deal.
Vlad y
If
Yusuf Joe?
VX Bao or Higuchi gets put into this group, that seals the deal on this group being the most deadliest group
Veamos.
ever. If it does it. He's got a name, talk to me.
Veamos. ¿Quién va a estar en el grupo A? Hot Dog en el grupo A. ¡Otra vez!
dodged it a little bit.
That's still a pretty scary group though.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Hot Dog was a part of
Segundo año
Group A last year.
consecutivo que a
It's something
Hot Dog
from
le
Tamura,
toca el
Fino,
grupo A. Porque el año
Salvatore,
pasado
Pong,
también le tocó el grupo A a
Kashi.
Hot Dog.
But still,
A Hot Dog
pretty damn
29.
difficult. Ending Walker, Fudo, and Kawano.
A ver, ¿quién va a ir en el grupo B junto con Kawano, Fudo y Walker?
I think any of those names.
Veamos.
Do you know they might want to be there? I don't know. Maybe they do want to be there. I'm not saying they don't want to. I don't want to be there, but maybe these guys do. But...
I actually want
Veamos.
to see Higuchi in Group C.
En Group B, Bravery en el grupo.
Okay, so
Okay.
Bravery in a Group B.
Okay.
Talk to me.
You know what? They have to pay attention. They have to stay switched on, all of them. That's not like you can't sleep at this dude now. Especially
Bravery en el
these
grupo B.
environments.
Vamos con el
He's
grupo
actually
C.
well suited,
¿Quién va a
similar
estar
to
junto
Noah,
con Menar,
very suited for
Mochi
these
y Big
environments.
Bird?
You're not gonna have a clean break of trying to get out of that group. So Bravery being in Group B, I kind of like the outcome of Group B there. That's pretty good.
Veamos quién va a estar en el grupo C junto con Mena, Mochi y Big Bird.
Going
Dark
to
Corgi.
Group C.
Oh my God!
It makes
No
sense.
way.
C for C Viper. I love that. So, against MenaRD, against YHCMochi, which I feel I feel like it's great for Viper. Big Bird,
Ok,
how
vamos
much
con el
has he
grupo F.
been practicing up against his character?
Al menos hasta ahora no hay dos japoneses en el mismo grupo.
Viper versus Blanka, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Viper versus Sim either, especially against one of the best Sims in the world. He's got his work cut out for him.
Quincho en el
He can do it,
grupo
but
F.
Quincho, he is going to be wow. Group no. Group F. Momochi, Angrybird, Tashi, and Quincho.
Grupo G.
That is going to be a group to watch. If it's not Group A, like I said, it's got to be Group F.
Grupo
That's
G.
gotta be a group you gotta
Para
be
completar el
lazy
grupo
enough to
G
have a group of them.
junto con Gachikun, Kobayan y No Pedro.
Skipping over
¿Quién
to
va a
the rest of the
estar?
groups, Group G. For Gachikun, Kobeon, not Pedro.
A ver. ¡Revélelo!
Jiwa.
Big Bow.
Oh. Okay. Oh, you know what? Now that group's actually done, you look
That's
at
quite
that
the mix
group
of a
now.
group.
Vamos con el grupo H. ¿Quién va a estar junto con Leshar,
Let's see. Rashid from Gachikun,
Ryukichi y
Kobeon,
Lugabo?
Zangief, not Pedro with Ken Sagat. And then VX Bao. He has shown off the Bison over at SFL. Ed and Mai.
A ver. ¿Quién va junto con
Yeah,
ellos?
that's it. Group G's a tough one. It's a tough one. Who's gonna join Group H though? Leshar, Ryukichi, and Lugabo. It will be
Travis Styles.
Styles coming in. Listen, if you thought his looks could kill, so could his gameplay. But
Travis en el grupo H. Otra vez le tocó el
a
H.
tough group there because
Travis otra vez le tocó el grupo H.
Kimberly, he's gonna have a lack of knowledge on how that guy plays. Lugabo. Ryukichi,
Grupo I.
and Leshar, there's
¿Quién va a estar
plenty of
junto con
information out
Ponxerna y
there, but it
Armakov?
doesn't mean you're gonna be ready for the exam because experience is the best teacher. The test
A
first, the
ver.
lesson later.
Higuchi.
I was gonna say a side note. There were some instances against Leshar and Ryukichi against Goichi's Chun-Li, so there is some homework out there for Travis Styles to brush up on.
Higuchi en el I
But going into
y
Group I, however,
Quincho en el
Higuchi filling out the
F.
final slot for
Vamos con
Punk,
J.
Zerna, and Arma.
Quedan Jiwa,
That's-
Rainpro y Raihan.
I want to say that's also a pretty well-rounded group, not even in terms of
Rain,
players,
pero en el
but also
grupo
like character
J.
selection.
No way. That's another tough group we're looking at. Group J, because Rain Pro,
Gail
Reign
Mirror.
Supreme in Hong Kong or in East Asia.
Gail
That's how
Mirror
qualified here.
tenemos en el grupo J.
And that group,
Rainpro y
is
Lex.
two Guiles. Somebody was gonna get two Guiles in the group.
Y
And it is
queda
gonna be
acá
Chris
ILL.
and Mickey here as well.
Jiwa o
Then who's
Raihan.
gonna
¿Quién le
be-
tocará al grupo K?
Last name
Raihan en el K, por lo que
Raihan
Jiwa se va al
is
L.
gonna be joining him now. Kills you and Knuckle Dude. I don't know if these guys will be scared of a modern Elena at all, or he's gonna bring a Jamie, because if this guy works on his Jamie, he could cause an upset in that group there. Then that
Modern Jamie,
means-
modern Elena.
Así que los grupos están completados.
Right,
Jiwa en el grupo L junto con Itabashi, Dave, Jack y
So we're
Jack.
rounding out the final group, Group L.
Así que los grupos están completados.
Jiwa
Grupo
joining
A.
Itabashi,
Xiaohai,
Zangief, Diver,
Blast,
and
Juicy Joe
just a
y
kid
Hot Dog.
coming in with that mind.
Grupo
I'm
B,
actually quite
Kawano,
impressed,
Fudo, Walker,
seeing Jill in the mix
Bravery.
again, right? I loved seeing him around in the
Grupo
Street Fighter
C,
4 era. And I loved
MenaRD,
seeing him
Mochi,
make it to
Bigber y
Capcom Cup
Darkorgi.
that one time, and now
Grupo
that he's
D,
fully in
Enel,
force with that
Sahara,
mind,
Japhim y
I
Shaka.
think he's gonna give
Grupo E,
Grupo
DK,
a pretty
Pugera,
hard time.
Johanngel y Kaba.
It's hard to predict with the
Grupo
limited
F,
amount of information
Angrybird,
from one against
Momochi,
G1. But
Dashi y
I gotta
Quincho.
say, man, these turned out to
Grupo
be
G,
quite
Gachikun,
quite
Kobayan,
crazy.
No
Group
Pedro
A,
y
Xiaohai, Blaz,
Biexpao.
Hot Dog, Juicy Joe.
Grupo
That
H,
is
Leshar,
quite the pick.
Ryukichi, Lugabo y Travis Styles.
Yeah.
Grupo I,
Group A,
Punk,
Group B,
Serna, Armakov
like there's so
y
many
Higuchi.
different
Ahí está cómo fue a
groups
funcionar
and
esto.
titans in these games or in the
Obviamente
team
solo dos
game.
players pasan de
I'm
cada
just glad it's
grupo.
not just like one group,
Grupo
it's like 4
A,
or 5 groups.
B,
You're like,
C y D
like,
y lo mismo
this
abajo.
group's going to be pretty difficult to call who's going to emerge victorious, who's even
Solo
going to make
12
it to phase
players
2.
pasan para la
We're
final.
looking at right now what's happening because remember in day 1 we're going to be getting our ensured 12 players advancing to the top 16 before we go into the phase 2 in the last stages of the
Así va a funcionar la
But
mecánica.
now, this is the fixtures. Now,
Xiaohai
I've
contra
said this
Blanka del
about-
primer match y después
let me see if I
Vietnam
can
Juicy
say-
Joe.
I've said this about matches with the round robins and these different formats, but there's always a deciding match that decides the group, if that makes sense. Where when it's a group of death, it's harder to call because
Pero
all
como
the matches
decía,
matter, but there's
Grupos
always one or
I,
two
Pong,
defining matches that
Serna,
go, okay,
Armakov,
this
Higuchi.
is gonna
Grupo
change the whole
J,
system.
Miki, Lex,
But
Chris
we need to
Tatarian y
see
Rainpro. Grupo
who's
K,
going to be stepping up first.
Hinao,
Now, Xiaohai and
Hinao,
Xiaohai
Kiryu,
and Juicy Joe were in the
Nakutu
same
y
group
Raihan.
last
Y
year.
por
They
último,
have played, I
Ita-san,
think
Daiba,
Xiaohai beat
Jack
Joe
y Jiwa.
2-1, and he used Mai. I think that's when Mai was still fairly
Y
fresh.
tenemos
Joe
10
had a lot
Mai
of experience
clasificadas
at the time. I think
en la
that's
Capcom Cup. 10 Mai.
That's correct. Xiaohai had also taken down like Knuckle Dew as well, but Juicy Joe
Eso
took
quiere
down,
decir
like,
que vamos a
Kama,
tener un Kawano
he took
versus
down-
Fudo
he took
Walker
two-
Bravery
two
y después un
players
MenaRD
down.
Mochi y Bigber
Kama,
Dark
Knuckle
Corgi.
Dew. He took down Nephew
Un
as
grupo
well,
D
so-
en el Sahara
he also had
y
to face off against
Jakin
Kill
contra Shaka.
But yeah, no, you're right.
El grupo E un
Xiaohai,
DK
Juicy Joe being
Pugera
in
y
the same
un
group again
Johanngel
is
Kaba.
a very,
Después un Angrybird Momochi
very
ya del
exciting
primer
thing.
match.
What happens if
Y un
it's like
Dashi Quincho.
there's two prospects here, either Xiaohai Blaz, Xiaohai Juicy Joe. The only fresh thing that would
Después
come up would be like
un
Xiaohai
Gachikun
Hot Dog that we
Kobayan.
haven't really seen as
Y un No
often.
Pedro
I'm sure you
Bilbao.
can see it within like the Asia
Grupo H
region.
un
Sure.
Leshar Ryukichi y un
No,
Lugabo
that's true.
Travis. Después un
Also,
Pong
as well,
contra
don't forget,
Serna
UFA
y un
to
Armakov
make the top
Higuchi.
8, it was either the top 8 or
Tras
in
esto
the-
después
it
un
was in the
Mickey
top 8
Lex
for
y un
last
Chris
beat
Tatarian
Juicy Joe as
Rainpro.
well. So Joe's got actually
Tras
two
eso
people he can
un
run it back
Hinao
with in
contra
offline environments in a
Kiryu
regular season
y un
or
Nakotu
a high
Raihan.
stakes,
Y por esto, y lo otro
Capcom
un Ita-san contra Daiba.
event here. So do you know, I
Ita-san
think when
contra
Joe wakes up, I think
David
he'll be
y
a
un
little
Jack
bit
contra
shocked, but I
Jiwa.
think he'll be he's gonna wake up to this, by the way, because we're in
A
Europe.
ver,
He's
van
gonna
a
wake
ahora
up to
armar
this.
cómo van a ser los el
I'm
player
happy
1,
that you
player
said
2,
that, because
player
if I were
3 y
to stay
player
awake to
4.
watch this, I wouldn't be able to
A ver
sleep.
quién va a ser el player 1. Xiaohai es player 1.
Oh my God,
That's the third time he's been
they're doing
picked
this on
first,
purpose.
man.
They're actually doing this on purpose.
Xiaohai va a ser el P1.
It's the third time he's
Esto
been
hay que
picked
tener cuidado.
first.
¿Y quién va a ser
Come
su
on, man.
oponente de player 2?
Now we await his fate. Who he has to face off against. Here the
A
first
ver.
match, Group A, Phase 1.
Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog.
Give me, you know what, Jammers? Give me Blaz.
¡No! ¡Maldito! Xiaohai versus Blas de primer match.
Wow.
That, you know what? Y'all can fire me now if you want, but that's kind of godlike. Tell me that's not godlike, Jammers. We get the run back from the most recent set.
No.
Juicy
Blaz,
Joe.
No, Blaz is on the other one. Blaz on the other side.
Oh, he's on the
I'm
other
pretty sure
one.
Blaz on the other side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's on the other side. he's on the
Okay,
other side.
so they bamboozled me. They let me keep my job.
Así
They
que
said, you know
Juicy
what?
Joe contra
We're actually
Xiaohai.
putting him in match 2. Okay,
JP
so now
contra
we know the
Mai.
format. My
Y eso
mistake.
quiere
I
decir
thought
que
it was
Hot
pick
Dog
one, pick their
contra
matchup,
Blaz.
go into match 2,
Que
pick one,
posiblemente sea un
pick their
Sagat
matchup.
Mirror.
That's what my impression
Porque
was.
Hot Dog está usando Sagat también.
I see. Xiaohai, Juicy Joe, I'm sure you're ecstatic about that. Blaz versus Hot Dog.
Así que ya están los matches.
I don't know
Xiaohai
who's-
contra
yeah,
Juicy
I don't
Joe
know who
y
Hot
Blaz
Dog's gonna
contra
pick,
Hot Dog.
because they both have Sagat at their disposal. I don't see a Sagat mirror happening. They're gonna do something else.
Está
Xiaohai
rotísima la
versus
Mai.
Juicy Joe, I can
Casi
see,
todo el mundo la usa.
Mai versus
Y llega al
JP
punto
happening.
que ahora el juego se ha
Joe's
estancado
been
por culpa de
working on
ella.
another character. I don't
Y
know
con el
if
Alex
he'll
se espera
actually
que con el
bring
parche que
bring
viene
them
con
out
Alex
here.
Normalicen las
I think
cosas.
he's confident in his JP play. But again, I think the fans will want to see Zhao Hai
Esperemos que se arregle eso, o si no,
tendremos
tendremos que soportar hasta que salga Ingrid, que sale a finales de primavera. Otra vez los abanicos de Mike, que ya dan mucho cáncer que lidiar. A ver ahora la selección de los grupos, de cómo va a ser los matches de grupo. A ver, ¿cuál va a ser el primer match? ¿Quién va a ser el player 1?
Going into Group B with
Kawano.
Speaking of which, first name called up to match 1, filling that slot. Kawano, Fudo, Bravery, and Ending Walker. Who's going to face off against Kawano's Akuma? Now, again, he's been mad sturdy throughout the entirety of his performance with Good 8 Squad and SFL Japan. But on the other side of the bracket,
A ver,
is he okay? Okay.
¿quién va para el otro lado?
If it's Fudo. Okay.
Fudo
Well,
se salvó el Team Kill.
pretty fortunate for those two, right? Being separated in the bracket.
Yeah,
Well,
you've called it twice now.
¿Quién se enfrentará a Kawano? ¿Será Bravery o será
Which means
Walker contra Kawano?
You like this
okay.
You like this one for
Walker
sure.
versus Kawano, eso quiere
I think
decir
it's
que
the matchup that
Bravery
I feel
contra
like you
Fudo.
wanted to happen, in terms of like Ending Walker's like comfort zone.
Es que la Manon, o sea, no sé quién podría pagar para ver a Manon. Nadie quiere ver a Manon. Lo mismo que nadie quiere ver a un Jamie y nadie quiere ver, por ejemplo, a Lily. Ya que obviamente le gustan personajes que molen, aunque obviamente sean cancerígenos, lo fácil que suena ser personajes que
Not that I
casi ni hacen nada y que les aburren.
Bravery versus
Cuando antes era los top tiers de siempre les aburría y los que eran low tier, que eran los entretenidos, los dejaban. Pero acá parece ser que los low tiers que hay del juego no les gusta a nadie. Por ejemplo, a nadie le gusta Lily, nadie le gusta Manon, nadie le gusta Jamie, nadie le gusta Marisa, nadie le gusta Manon.
the Kami player from Japan.
Ok, grupo
He's gonna have to
C,
face off against
¿cómo
Fudo
va a
a
ser?
handful of
¿Quién va a
times.
estar en player 1?
In like not even just league, but in general, I'd imagine that would be like the closest thing
¿Quién
that
va a
Fudo
estar en
has
player
for that
1?
type of practice.
Yeah, no, you know what? That's actually a very good point that you bring up.
Big
Group
Bird.
B, but Group C, Big Bird will be the first name to be put on the
Big
fixture
Bear en
sheet.
player 1.
But then we will find out his opponent very shortly as we find out who's going to be match 2 kicking it off. Is it going to be MenaRD? No, it will
Black
be
Corgi en
Corgi
player 2.
with the Viper here. Now, either way, he's avoided Rashid.
¿Y
That will probably be
quién se enfrentará a Big Bear? ¿Será
an
Mochi
ideal
o
pick
será Menor?
character-wise, maybe.
Veamos.
But we're going to see where the Bulls, the EVO Japan
Veamos.
and
Big
EVO
Bear
Vegas
contra
champion,
quién?
where is he going to be placed? That's the real question here. YHCMochi. Don't sleep on that Dhalsim either, but it is going to be
Mochi contra Big Bear.
out, and he will be going up against.
Eso quiere
That's
decir que
bad-
Dark
that's bad
Corgi
odds.
contra
Character-wise,
MenaRD.
that's bad odds, but I'm pretty sure he's
Viper
played
versus
enough
Blanka y
Rashid in
Dhalsim versus
Japan
Rashid.
to have a wealth
He
of
has his
experience to understand what to do next. Yeah, that's true. That's true. A former teammate.
I mean, he can still
Sí.
play Gachikun. They're still teammates.
Menar versus Dark Corgi.
Okay. Jack Corgi.
MenaRD. You talked about this too. Blanka going up against C-Viper.
Esto
I
ya
haven't
no
had
es
the
más
luxury of
round
being able to
robin.
watch that matchup too often.
Eliminaron lo
I've
del
only played
formato
it on
round
ranked,
robin
but
aquí
now I
parece
get to
ser.
see, like, it's more so
No se va a usar round robin este
in the
año.
hands of, like, Dark
Va a
Corgi
ser
to
el mismo
really
formato
make
que
the champs sweat.
la eSports World Cup.
You know what? I couldn't have articulated
Formato
better
modo
myself. It's actually
bracket
gonna be
donde
a
solo
very
pasan dos,
good
uno por winners y uno por
opportunistic
loser y después
for
las finales son FT5 single elimination. No otra vez, qué asco de anuncio.
Seeding's doing it for you. Half
A ver,
the
¿quién va a
work's
ser el
done. Now
player
you get to
uno?
laser in on who you have to practice against so he can study up on
Sahara.
Blanka as much as possible. If he brings out Blanka. But moving on to Group D now, Sahara, the first name to step out.
Ahí
This
está.
kid has been going from strength to strength, been streaming
Player
a lot
dos.
more. He's got an Akuma, but I think he's just going to stick with Ed throughout this tournament as well. One of my friends from secondary school is actually a massive fan of watching Sahara play this game. So I'm actually going to let him know.
Enel.
And hey, you want to stay up and watch this man play. And it will be NL going to be on match 2 on the other side. Sahara, maybe he might take his... Sahara will like either of these players, you know. I'm not going to lie to you. Sahara might actually like either of these
¿Quién
players.
se va a enfrentar a Sahara?
I think he would like Shaka a little
Shaka.
more, and he does get it. He does indeed get it, right?
Eso
lot
quiere
of
decir
Dhalsim
Zangief
practice. He's,
versus NL.
a lot of Dhalsim practice, but also a lot of actual like real life games in SFL. Shaka going into this though, he's had some really interesting looks in regards to that matchup specifically. I think Shaka can upset Sahara. I think there's a possibility for that.
No, that's very true. Now, obviously, JBM will be the last name here. He'll be going up against
Se va a enfrentar a
NL.
NL.
Now, there was a match he had against Angrybird. I think it was day 3 or
Vamos
day 4
ahora con el
SFL
grupo E.
EU. It did not
DK,
look particularly
Pugera,
good, but that was
Johangel, Cava.
Evo
A ver cómo se van a
champion
armar
Dhalsim,
sus matches.
finest player here. He's got plenty of knowledge. He's very astute when it comes to studying. I've seen his YouTube channel, JBM, and how he looks at things and how he studies. He's going to have to go and replay Takeover on NLCFN and really study up here. But I think if he does his homework right and understand NL's tendencies, I think he can take that one against NL, at least for the first match anyway.
Moving on to Group E, Yon Angel, the first one picked for the match is set for him.
¿Quién va a estar del otro lado?
Gonna be the JP filling up that spot. On the other side of the bracket, we're gonna find out who's filling in that spot. I don't even know who I would want separated, honestly. I wouldn't want to see dual Kevin versus Kava. I really would not want to see that. In terms of like
DK.
the matchup spread that we've seen throughout the season. So dual Kevin on the other side, match 2, there is that possibility. Did I just jinx it, Jammers?
You've done it too much now.
Johangel
You
contra
can't be
quién?
allowed in lottery streams. You just this is your gacha coming out. I know it's your gacha
Cava.
coming out. Oh no, I did not want that to happen. Mate.
Johangel versus Cava, eso quiere decir que Pugera.
JP. Actually, you know what?
Ah, no.
No, you know what?
Pugera
Kava
versus
might-
DK.
might want that. I think Yona Angel's happy character-wise, but
DK versus Pugera. Rashid JP versus Juri.
he's probably seen how he qualified for the cup.
Juri,
Pugera was going up against
Sagat.
dual Kevin, and he's got an array of
Bison.
characters there. But the thing is, dual Kevin's not just strictly Rashid anymore. So the big question mark is here: who is more appropriate for someone like Pugera? Because I said this when we were at EWC. Pugera is like a special case, a dark horse for me. In terms of what he comes with at these big events, he really showed up for his team in the Worlds last season, and he came with the Sagat in EWC this year. It was still a fairly new Sagat, but he's had more time, a couple more months now. So we're actually going to see, and remember, I see Pugera more in Street Fighter League environments, not in these individualistic events now. We're bringing him back into the 1v1, the real combative events. So it'll be very
Grupo
interesting how
F.
Pugera fares in that group, honestly.
A ver, ¿cómo hacen armaristas? Player 1.
Going into Group F, the
Quincho.
first person picked out, Quincho, the most recent player to qualify into Capcom Cup towards the end of that regional final for Japan.
¿Quién será el player 2?
Coming in with that Terry. Now, obviously, I don't think he'd want to face off against Momochi. He'd rather, I don't even know if he'd want to pick Angrybird, honestly, or Tashi, but I'd imagine he'd want to
Momochi.
face off against his countrymen, which he won't. Momochi is going to be solidified into the second part of the matchup in the other
¿Quién
half.
se
of the bracket.
enfrentará a Quincho? ¿Será Tashi o será Angrybird?
Okay.
Veamos.
So, who is going to be going up against Quincho? Quincho versus Angrybird might be pretty interesting.
Angrybird.
There you go.
You gotta stop doing
I
it.
think that would be a pretty,
Itachi
I
versus
think that'd be a pretty
Momochi.
interesting match to see because, again,
Tashi versus
Quincho
Momochi.
qualified via the regional final, as Vicious mentioned earlier. He got a beatdown from Blaz not too long ago in that 5-0 in the Chinese online tournament, so Gat versus Terry. He's going to have to be working pretty hard there, but
Tashi
Tashi's
contra
going up
Momochi.
against Momochi. Now, I said Momochi,
Vamos con el
from
grupo
what I've
G.
seen at online replays, he has got a very good track record against DJ in general, no matter what character he picks. So hopefully Tashi will take
Porque
that
tienen a,
into
por
consideration.
ejemplo, a este, a
Come prepared
Tomorock,
accordingly.
el mejor DJ
This is
del
what
mundo,
Group F for phase
de,
one
entre,
is
de,
gonna be
perso-
looking
de
like
jugador de
Vicious.
entrenamiento.
What we thinking? Any more comments on this one?
I just hope that Momochi had learned from the last time he faced off against DJ coming in from Blink Respawner, right? We saw Fudo do the dance on him as soon as he won that ticket into Capcom Cup. But will Tashi bring something new, right? Obviously, I think he's going to be like the biggest highlight for me going into that group because I want to see like how he fares off against some of the veterans. Some of the veterans. One of them being
Grupo
Momochi.
G.
All right. So on to Group G now. With
Gachikun.
Gachikun leading the charge. You couldn't ask for a better deal. Group G, and of course his name starts with a G here. Now, if you
¿Quién va a
separate
estar en el otro
Kobian,
lado?
that'd be interesting. But then,
No, Pedro.
not Pedro.
It's not Pedro.
Will be. Yeah, well, I mean, that's his name. We're
Uy,
not saying it's not Pedro.
¿será
it's not gonna be
Viexbao
his
o
match number
Kobayan
one.
que se enfrentará a Gachikun? Veamos.
We're gonna see.
Shut up, man.
Que no sea Kobayan, por favor.
I didn't even think about it.
Rematch de la Topanga.
It's nearly 4 in the morning.
Veamos.
Don't do it to him. Don't do it to Kobe.
Viexbao.
VX Bow is going to be the guy facing off.
Kobayan
against
versus
Gachikun.
No Pedro.
I don't know how I actually feel about this one.
Kobayan
In
versus
regards
No
to like
Pedro.
VX Bow's history against like some of the Rashid players out here, or even in some of the Rashid players he has to face off in the States. Kobeon filling in that fourth slot against Not Pedro.
You know what? Kobean's ready. I can see like Kobean's ready for anything and everything in these kind of environments, these high octane environments. So I think regardless if Pedro picks Ken or Sagat, he'll be ready. I think statistically speaking, Sagat's the better pick, but he could surprise him with a Ken. Who knows?
And that's a matchup I feel like is that's a matchup that Kobeon's been kind of like going through the ringer for like numerous seasons now, right? There's so much data
Vamos
on
ahora
him
con el
and
grupo
Ryukichi
H.
from even events outside of Capcom Pro Tour stuff in general, right? So I think Sagat would have to be the pick.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Now moving on to Group H,
Leshar.
Leshar will be the first name out of the 4 names of the draw here. Obviously
Leshar.
qualified via combo breaker.
¿Quién
He's
será el
had
player
multiple
2?
Premier wins under
Ryukichi,
his belt. One of the
Lugabo,
most
Travis.
consistent, one of the most like probably the greatest competitive seasons of his like fighting game career, to be honest with you, especially with the Street Fighter League Japan win tacked onto his individual performances.
Travis.
And then Travis Styles will be separated from him.
Travis de Player 2.
Well, which means Travis Styles has the opportunity to fight Lugabo,
Player
the
3.
Kimberly.
Ryukichi o Lugabo.
We're gonna see where he
Or
goes
even-
here.
Or maybe even like the mirror with
Lugabo contra
Okay,
Leshar.
well, the two L's
Eso
coming
quiere
into
decir que es
match one,
Ryukichi
Leshar
versus
Lugabo.
Travis.
Kimberly versus the Ed. I'm actually mad excited to see that. If Leshar can keep up with the pace that Lugabo sets for himself most of the time in his matches. But Travis Styles versus Ryukichi, is it going to actually be the My Mirror?
I
My
can see that. I
mirror.
could definitely see that happening. Because I think Mai has a pretty decent time against Chun-Li. Despite like Chun-Li actually being kind of slept on as a character, but she's still fairly decent. But Mai is one of the best, one of the most used characters in the game at the moment. Super popular. So I can see Travis Styles just having to stick to to the book with this one and just going with the Mai pick his best option.
Vamos ahora
Ryukichi,
con el
he can
grupo
actually
I.
switch it up if he wants
El grupo
to.
de Punk, Serna,
the Ed
Armakov y
or the
Kikuchi.
Mai himself. But again, the number one priority for all these guys is to get into the
Veamos
finals.
quién es el player 1.
For the top 16.
Higuchi.
Going into Group I. Higuchi.
Higuchi de
First slot
player
of
1.
match 1. Rocking that
¿Quién será
dial.
el player 2?
Who would I not want to see him play against? Actually.
Armakov.
Well, Arma's going to be filling up the other side of the bracket. Go ahead, Jammers.
I mean, that answers half your question.
Serna
okay,
o
whether it's gonna be
Punk.
on the other
¿Quién
half.
se
So,
enfrentará a
I mean,
Higuchi?
but have I seen Punk versus Higuchi?
Sí.
I know Zen has never been in the cup, so that's different. Have I seen Punk versus
Punk contra
No, I haven't. Thank
Higuchi.
you. I haven't.
That's crazy.
Eso quiere decir Serna versus
No,
Armakov.
because Higuchi hasn't been there, but I don't know if they've actually faced each other in offline. They probably have.
That's a tough call. I'm not too sure. But he has a pretty solid record against Giles overall. Zerna's going to be filling in that spot up against Arma.
Serna tiene experiencia en el DJ
That's a
Matcha
matchup I
por
kind of
Crown.
look forward to in regards to like seeing how those two players play in general, rather than like the character matchup itself.
Yeah.
Considering they haven't really been into like the big dance. I mean, obviously Higuchi has not really been in there for Street Fighter 6 before, but we've seen him in a slew of different top tier events. Arma KOF and Zerna representing themselves pretty well, but them having to face off against each other off the rip.
Vamos con el grupo J.
Kind of a rough spot.
Vicky, Lex, Cristatarian y Rainpro.
This is another group I want people to
Que
kind
podemos
of
tener
pay
el Guile
attention to,
Mirror
be laser
de
focused
Lex
on,
versus
because the
Rainpro.
names here are heavy hitters. Even if your name
Puede
gets
ser
called
o
out
Guile
first, it
Mirror
don't
o
matter.
Bison Mirror.
Any opponent you have in this
Porque
group
ambos usan
is
Bison
going to be
también.
such a mountainous task. And
Rainpro.
Rainpro will be the first name to sit in that slot for match number
¿Quién será
one.
el otro?
Who will be
El
opposite
player
of
2.
him and potentially meet him in the winner's final to progress through the winner's side to the top 16.
I'm not too sure if
¿Quién?
Rainpro
¿Será que el
actually
Guile
plays out
Mirror
a
es
lot of the mirror
fake?
matches,
¿O
or if he'll
será
have, like, a Bison
evitado?
for that. I don't even know if it's something he would choose that matchup for specifically. But we'll see how that plays out. Rainpro being the first one. In match number 2 on the other side, it is
Christy.
Cristatarian. Okay.
Uy, estamos en terreno peligroso ahora.
I don't know who we'd rather face off against.
tricky.
¿Será que tendremos
Yeah,
el
that's
Guile
that's
Mirror
tricky.
de
Because
Rainpro
Lex,
versus
you can
Lex?
talk to JB, as you mentioned before. That's actually valuable information. Mickey can just pick my here, and
Veamos, ¿quién se enfrentará a Rainpro? Lex,
gonna be a
Guile Mirror.
or tell you what,
Guile
he's got a
Mirror.
Bison. He's got a Bison. He's
Es
actually been
mejor
prepping-
que
he's
haya
been
Guile
prepping a
Mirror que
Bison,
sea el
decent
Hong
Bison. So
Kong
if you wanted to
Country
whip out
Kill,
Bison here,
ya que Rainpro y Mickey son de
Rainpro- I
Hong
think Rainpro
Kong.
still dabbles with Cammy. I'm not sure. I don't think he'd bring out
Guile
Mickey.
Mirror is Fate.
And that rounds out Mickey for Cristatarian, which is something that he's very much so, like, okay with.
Guile Mirror is Fate.
For Mickey,
Vamos con el grupo K.
I think any of the Ken
Hinao,
players that he gets to play
Killju,
off in his
Nakatu
region
y Raihan.
is something to keep him confident. But there's just something specific about Cristatarian in regards to, like, his adaptation towards players, like his meticulous spacing, that he's kind of, like, set the stage with. Or he's actually gone, like, above and beyond with to make it to the big dance. I actually kind of wonder if Chris is going to be able to adapt to Mickey fast enough.
Yeah,
But
no, that's a
Rainpro and
good
Lex,
thing because
though.
I think
Grupo
just going
K.
back on the Mickey point, I think
A
some
ver,
people actually
¿cómo está el
mentioned
Grupo K?
Mickey's probably one of the fastest players in terms of adaptation. So that's actually going to be pretty interesting. But Rainpro versus
Grupo K.
Lex, that's definitely one we can't rule out for sure. But quickly moving on to Group K, another interesting group with Hinao, Kills You, Knuckledu, and Raihan. It is
Killju.
Kills You coming out ahead first. So he'll actually be the first match in this group
Killju,
to set the pace of
Player
things. He's
1.
been at
¿Quién será el
Capcom
otro
Cup
lado de Player 2?
last year.
Hinao,
He was
Nakatu o
gallivanting the world
Raihan.
with Crimson. He was part of Crimson's team in SFL EU. He's got a wealth of experience now on the international stage. So we'll be here. But who's going to be separated from him?
Nakatu.
It's going to be Knuckledu.
¿Contra quién se
Right,
enfrentará Nakatu? ¿Será Raihan o será
You can say a lot about
Hinao?
Knuckledu, right? Former Capcom Cup champion. I want to say, like, not as much like world traveled because he does have, like, a family. He'll pick and choose some of his spots to participate in some of the big CPT events around the world when he can. But still,
Hinao
very
contra
curious to see who's
Killju.
gonna face off against Killju versus Hinao. You talk about a world warrior from one end from Killju.
Eso quiere decir que Raihan versus
from out of
Du.
nowhere. Yo, Hinao.
Y
Coming
queda el
in, taking
último
out
grupo, el
Quite
grupo
Shot,
L.
I like this.
Y Raihan.
Oh mate, that's crazy, which means that Knuckledu will have to go up against our modern user in Raihan. This is going to be interesting here. Elena, Jamie, and Luke as part of the character roster. But I think Knuckledu will take his chances. Ever since he went full-time Mai, he hasn't really looked back. I know he dabbles with one or two other characters, but I think he'll be looking to take his chance there. Kills You versus Hinao. That might be one of the matches to look out for throughout the day on day one. If they're going to do one of those prediction brackets we do at the start of the day, that's going to be one of the matches you don't want to miss. Kills You versus Hinao. And it's all best of 5 territory.
Y queda el
as well, so
último
they've got an
grupo,
extended
Grupo L.
period of time to really sink their teeth into some of these matchups.
Oh man, Hamiko is going hard now. I see Aru already kind of talking about it, like Inabashi versus Diver being a possibility. It's
Jack.
gonna be Jack first. going in with that Juri, but he's also been picking up a lot of different characters as well.
¿Quién
Obviously,
se
we saw him,
enfrentará a Jack? ¿Podrá
not too
ser
long
Itabashi,
ago. I
Daiva
forgot
o
which stream
Jiwa?
it was, but I think he's also
Player
part
2.
of Genesis. I think he was there.
Jiwa es el player
But
2.
either way, Jiwa on the other side though.
¿Quién será el oponente de Jack y quién será el oponente de Jiwa?
Aru doesn't get his
Veamos.
wish. Not Itabashi versus Diver.
Diver.
Daiva contra Jack.
Like, Diver is the pick, so it
Yuri
will most
matchup. Eso quiere
likely
decir
be
que
Ed
Itabashi versus
Mai.
Jiwa. Mai versus
Likely.
Gif.
And
Or
you know,
Marisa.
that's actually good for him because he's actually pretty good. He's on pretty good speaking terms or friends with Zerna. Zerna plays Mai, so Diver can practice with Zerna before they leave. So
Ya están todos los grupos.
On the other hand, like Jiwa, I feel like he's on kind of an interesting position. I don't know how many Zangiefs he gets to face off against, but Itabashi, he had to go through like all of them in Street Fighter League every single week. So that's going to be quite contentious, I feel like, more so for... Actually, yeah, I feel
Están
like even
todos
so,
los matches
no matter what
armados.
my Itabashi has to face off
Tendremos un
against, it's gonna
Xiaohai
be a
Blas
right?
y un Juicy Joe contra...
no, of course, and like he's been
ahí
extremely
está.
ferocious with his Marisa training as of recent, so he might bring out Marisa for that one, but he's gonna have to mix it up and be as prepared as can be because again he's got a massive fan base out in Japan as well. Itabashi.
4 players avanzan al top 16.
But then you can see it there.
Jack
that
contra
is
Daiva y
the
Jiwa
bracket
contra
draw
Itabashi.
for Group L, but then you can see right here, you can see how it will work, or the potential scenarios that can happen here as well.
So it is a mix of different players, right? It's not going to be like the same players within the group, right? In phase 1, it's going to consist of Group A to C for that first batch of players. I like that, actually.
This is the phase 2 round robin we're looking at right now, by the way. Sorry.
That's right.
I'm looking at the top of the screen, of course, because phase 2 is super important, and obviously the 4 players will advance to the top 16 final.
Así es.
And then that will round
Del
out
otro
our top
tendremos
15 leading
sí,
up
Xiaohai
to
contra Blas y
Japan
Juicy Joe contra... No, Xiaohai, Juicy Joe
as well.
y
Plenty of
Blas
players,
versus Hot
plenty
Dog.
of groups, lots
El
of
grupo B,
numbers.
Kawano contra
So if you're good
Walker
at
y
maths,
Fudo contra
you're not
Bravery.
so good at
Grupo C,
maths,
Mena
you can have
versus
fun
Darkorgi
calculating stuff
y
anyway. We'll
Mochi
have
contra
one of
Piccolo.
these guys.
Grupo
In
D,
phase 2, only one player can emerge from each
Sahara
of
contra
these
Shaka
as
y
well.
Enel versus
So
Japan.
in the phase 1, it's
Grupo
2,
E
one winner.
será
One winner will go to the final, one winner will, the loser will go to
Johangel
phase 2,
versus
and then
Kaba.
from the phase 2 part, which is still best of 5,
Y Dual
only
Kevin contra
one player
Pugera.
can emerge
Grupo
victorious,
F
and there's one less player there as well,
será
because technically from phase 1, a player will have
Quincho
been
versus
eliminated, or players
Angrybird
would have
y
been
Momochi contra Tashi.
Yeah.
Grupo
So you can
G
see
va
it.
a
I mean, just
ser
looking at the graphic, there's going to be
Gachikun
4 different groups
versus
going into phase number 2.
Piexbao y Cobayan contra No Pedro. Grupo H será
double elimination bracket will be put into
Leshar
these respective
versus
groups, right?
Lugabo
The first
y
group of Group A is going to be the ones coming in
Ryukichi
from
contra
phase 1, A
Travis.
through C, and then going forward, the rest of the letters, etc., etc.
Y ahí está,
It
Single
leads
Elimination
into the
FT5.
top 16 final. And that's going to be happening, I do believe, on
Grupo I va a
towards
ser
Sunday.
Higuchi contra Punk y
Sunday's
Serna contra
the final day
Armakov.
for
Grupo
SFL
J
Worlds. I think
será
SFL Worlds is
Rain
the
Pro
final
versus
day, the day
Lex
before
Oh, I
that.
thought they-
y Chris
for some reason I
Tatani
thought they put
versus
it on
Mickey.
Saturday.
Grupo K va a ser
That was my mistake.
should be the right.
Kiryu versus
Well, we're gonna
Hinao y
get
Nakutu
word from
Raihan.
That's
Y
right.
por
Ah,
último,
voice of reason.
el grupo L va a
Just a
ser
minute
Itasan
right
contra
there.
Jiwa y Jack
But
contra
we
Daver.
need to actually check the calendar ourselves. So yeah, on day 4, March 14th, Capcom Cup final tournament. Day 5, March 15th, SFL World Championship final. There you go.
Keep mixing myself up from last year, man. Keep thinking about it.
Ya están armados todos los grupos.
That was crazy.
Yeah. But this is how it plays out. Looking at it, phase 1, you see where the winners are. They're going to be highlighted in the blue lettering. And then phase 2, where the round robin actually happens, that's going to be with like the reddish, orange, brownish kind of combination of letters. I don't even know what color that is because I can't see the font that well. But that's how it's going to span out for our top 16. How do you feel about that, Jammers?
No, I'm pretty pleased with this. I'm probably going to be doing a lot of like hypotheticals, prediction brackets once we're done here, and then see what can potentially happen. Because again, this is going to be exciting regardless, because of all the names that are just involved in this year's Capcom Cup, returning veterans, a lot of young players that have been stepping up and really taking the main stage in terms of their prowess and their energy involved in the game. So, and remember, the further we go into the bracket, the more entertaining and harder it does get for the players. So, I'm excited either way.
Kind of interesting to see where they seed the winners of Phase 2 in a lot of the in this top 16, right? Like you have Group D versus Group A, and it's not like the Phase 1 Group D; it's the round robin Group D. Same applies for the round robin Group C facing off against Group D of Phase 1. Very interesting. Group B of the round robin phase faces off against the winner of the double elimination bracket of Phase 1, Group G. And then Group A faces off against Group K. I see. Or sorry, Group A faces off against Group J. My mistake. Hello. Can't read.
Sorry. Also, we didn't mention this. As you can see, it's in small writing, but it's single elimination format. Best of 9 in the top 16, which basically, they're first to 5s. So from this point onwards, you get an extended set. It is first to 5. And at this point, if you haven't done your homework or you're not ready for it, then like that's on you.
FT5 con single elimination.
That is a similar format against the Esports World Cup this past year, no?
Sí.
That is precisely right. We saw a plethora of first to 5s. We saw Ending Walker 5-0 Mena. We saw Angrybird 5-1. I think it was 5-1 against Ending Walker. We saw a great set between Zhao Hai and Blaz in the final. Leshar versus Blaz. We saw Blaz 5-0, YHCMochi and Ken versus Dhalsim. And again, these guys have time to adapt, time to implement their strategies and really figure out how their opponent is utilizing the drive system and all those intricacies in the character matchups. But when you see it this
Leshar versus Fudo.
I think I'll be super excited on the day this happens. I'll be like, oh, okay, first to 5 with
O
these
sea
two
que
players?
casi todos los,
I'll be like,
la
okay,
mayoría de
I'm down,
grupos
let's
tienen
watch
dos
this.
Japanese
Let's
players.
really,
El grupo B
crunch
tiene
the
dos
numbers here,
Japanese,
but only one of those
el
players
grupo,
can be the Capcom Cup 12
el
champion
grupo F tiene dos
and join,
Japanese, el grupo G tiene dos
join
Japanese.
Kakeru, and of course, I'm forgetting his name. Oh my god.
O sea, solo el grupo B y F. El grupo B, F y G tienen ambos dos Japanese players.
Oh my god. Uma! There you go. Uma.
I was gonna say, if you want me to do it,
No. It's like, you got it, Jammers. Don't worry, you're getting there. No, you're going to join Uma and Kakeru in terms of Capcom Cup champions for Street Fighter 6. Whoever it is this weekend. It's interesting because they always say it. The favorites never win the tournament. But there's a lot of favorites going into this one.
I mean, was that the case last year? I mean, there was a lot of favorites into last year's competition as well, right? I mean, Kakeru had like quite a phenomenal year going into it.
Yeah, he did. Especially after he swapped characters for a period of time. Because I remember one of the SFLs he was using Bison and Akuma. He used it for one of the Topanga championships as well. But then he went back to tried and true JP, especially after some of the changes reverted back and his knowledge got evidently so better. I remember there was that interview that came out where he wanted to pick Mai, and his wife said, "You are not picking Mai. You JP." And
you were picking JP. That's
look
right.
what happened there. Listen, the wife made the call, and look what happened.
You can never go against, like, he's lost his privileges off of that Capcom Cup run. Sure, he's a lot happier with the W, but man, he's never winning an argument again.
No. It's ill, man. I tell you what, that is true. But yeah, hopefully we're.
No, otra vez, otro anuncio asqueroso.
Home there as well, but
Goes well into the conversations that we have backstage. So I'm very curious and excited to see like everybody's thoughts going into like how these brackets have turned out. And if you have an opinion that differs from ours in terms of the death bracket, I would love to hear which ones and why, personally.
no, of course. Yeah, I've got a couple of names. I do have a couple of names. I don't know if I should reveal them now or wait, because I don't want to jinx their run.
I think we're gonna have to do it the week of. Honestly, we'll record it the week of, and then we'll release it as soon as Capcom Cup ends, or maybe the day of finals. Who knows?
I'm down. I'm down.
Okay. So going into it again, one of the biggest supporting partners of Street Fighter League, Taio Holdings, doing an immense job of supporting Street Fighter League. Now throwing out a ton of support. Damn, 200K on the line for the SFL World Championships. And this is what the format's going to be looking like for the group stage. Obviously, we still have like the home and away rules, and it is based upon certain rulings. Let me double check before I mix that up. Boom. We're going to figure out who's going to be sitting on the home and away side just based off of this seeding today. I do believe Hamako and Aru are going to be going through the same gacha rotations of picking out the teams respectively.
Yeah, obviously there are 3 teams, so everyone will have to face each other as well. I believe we will be following the same ruling as we've done in the regular seasons, but we will get onto that when I get more information regarding that. And this is important as well. So these are the teams involved. And there you have it. SFL
Reject,
Japan
Bandit,
Champions, which was recent.
Ninjas.
Team Reject. That crowd was roaring when it was Crazy Raccoon versus Reject. These guys dominated it. Like maybe dominate is an understatement. They done a complete beatdown against those guys. But the preparation these guys put into the, and you can see that dangerous as can be. And all the nicknames are there as well. Tokido, Leshar, Fudo, and Daigo are going to be representing. And I reckon there'll be guys hanging outside the sumo arena wanting to watch these guys play some Street Fighter in the arena there representing Japan.
Luego, el Team Bandit.
Daigo a couple of times over, and it kicked me off the stream, Jammers. I'm not going to
Oh,
lie.
oh, damn, okay. Looks like they said, oh, hide that Daigo, fan.
Well, I had a couple
MenaRD
of funny things to say
estaba
during Daigo's time over at SFL. And I was actually quite happy with his performance, right? Like, one of the biggest questions was, how is Daigo going to hang with, like, the current era and current meta of the gameplay and of some of the players? And the answer was, he pulled his weight.
He did. But right now on screen, they have got Team Bandit showing here, and I promise you, these guys are coming straight for the juggler because they got Mena, the Bull, captaining this team. Kava, solid forces can be. Boost. Now I gotta say, man, Boost. When I watched the stream that Rob TV done with him in terms of coaching, his mindset, his philosophy behind this game, and how he practices, and how he's so good at the game, it is there. So we are going to be being Boost at the SFL World Champions. He was very close to qualifying for Capcom Cup on 1 or 2 occasions as well. Just fell short, but it's going to be good to see him here. I think he's actually going to garner, I think he's actually going to garner a bigger audience here, depending on how Bandits do in the final. And Chris Tatarian, he's such a great guy. He's a teacher as well. His philosophy, his mindset towards
Y el grupo ni
it's a great
Phenom,
addition,
GC
to
Joe,
this squad.
Angrybird
He's
y
already won an
debido.
SFL Worlds with Bandits back in 2020.
El
And now we
fenómeno.
have like the crazy addition going into ninjas and pajamas, brother. What is this powerhouse team? Phenom,
La cara
Juicy
del
Joe,
Phenom.
Angrybird, and Big Brain. Boy, do I love seeing this combination of players because they were looking mad unstoppable. They were looking unstoppable last year. Well, at least Angrybird and Big Bird were, right?
El
Just looking at it,
fenómeno.
but back again with Juicy Joe, this is kinda OD. I will say that. Obviously, Veggie, he's easily one of my favorite people in general. I love seeing him play. I love him kind of like stepping
Pero
back
tuvieron
and
que
now
descartar
being,
a
I guess,
Veggie
like a
para
little bit
poner
of
a
a facilitator,
Juicy
no,
Joe.
for NIP.
Yeah, he's had some real life commitments to take care of, but he's still pretty much involved with the team. I'm actually hoping he does come down to the cup. I'm gonna have to message him and ask him if he's coming actually, but it'd be great to see him because I haven't seen him in a little while. But yeah, listen, Phenom needed more firepower for NIP, and boy did he get it in Juicy Joe. Juicy Joe pulled his weight really well. I can't wait to see him on the international stage in Street Fighter League World. Phenom is the only three-time SFL EU champion with 2 different teams. Defending champion for NIP, but he's got 3 SFL titles under his belt there. So, and they're all involved Street Fighter 6. So he knows how to pick them. I'll tell you that much.
You're not kidding. I really want to see them excel versus the other competitors there, like against the US, against the Japanese team. I really would love to see like how they shine, because as much as I love watching SFL EU, I want to see them now versus against these 2 other very much so powerhouse and dominant teams, right?
Yeah, they didn't do well last year in terms of the SFL World, so I think Phenom will definitely remember that.
Group Stage día 1, Team A contra Team B, Team B contra Team
They
C y Team
underperformed in
C
that
versus
environment.
Team
I
A.
think Angrybird was holding them up
Día 2,
in a
Team
couple
A
of
versus
occasions.
Team
He had some
C,
really good
Team B
exchanges
versus
with
Team A y Team C
Kawano
versus Team
in the
B.
Akuma mirror. It just wasn't enough, so hopefully this time round,
O
depending
sea
on the
que Rilla
performances
versus Bandits
of Juicy Joe
y
and
luego Bandits
Juicy Joe, Angrybird,
versus
and Big Bird.
Nip
Yeah,
y después
everyone's there, but
Nip
Phenom
versus
felt
Reject.
they will go into that. So Phenom's actually has a little bit more time to prepare for
Luego
the
Team A
SFL
Team
World
C
Championship
es
Scott Levels.
Reject
That's actually pretty good.
versus
You
Nip,
can say that with like a lot of the
Bandits
players
versus
in SFL in
Reject
general, right? You got like
y por
Fudo,
último
Leshar coming into
Nip
Capcom Cup. There's like
versus Bandits.
majority of the team
Pero
going
esto
into
entre home y
Capcom Cup,
away.
and there's just like one extra player who's just still making it via SFL. But looking at like the way this is composed, right? Team B, you can see it right here. Between these three teams, in group stage day 1 and day 2, Team B has the responsibility of having to face
Selección de grupos. ¿Quiénes van a ser los grupos?
in back-to-back days. They get the doubleheader both days.
¿Quién será el team? El A.
They do. Someone had to receive the short end of the stick. Somebody had to do it. And we're gonna find out who is gonna be the first name here. That will be for team match number 1.
Nip.
That looks like Ninjas in Pajamas. That looks like
Nip
Ninjas
es
in
el
Pajamas.
grupo, el equipo A.
They will be up there, ready and waiting. for
¿Y
team
quién
match
será el
number
de
one,
equipo
as
B?
Rashid said, Team B, whoever this is. The mental stamina's got to be 110% this time, man, instead of just 100.
Bandits. Eso quiere decir que Reject es el grupo, el equipo C.
Okay. They're gonna be the first ones up against Ninjas in Pajamas. I actually want to see
Reject versus
how it
Bandits.
played off last year in terms of like SFL again. And at
Reject.
least Reject
Well, remember
as
it
Team
was
C.
yeah, it was FlyQuest that was there last year with the Kimberly coalition.
was, yeah.
That was fun.
That's what it was. Yeah, you're right. So I keep forgetting it was like
El primer match va a
FlyQuest
ser Nip versus
during the
Bandits,
US
después
finals, and
Bandits
that was
contra Reject,
super
después
heated.
Reject
Okay,
contra Nip.
that's what it was.
En el
Alright,
día
my
2
mistake,
va a ser
my mistake.
Nip versus
Yeah, looking into
Reject,
it
luego
right
Bandits
now,
contra
Ninjas in Pajamas versus
Nip
Bandits,
y
Bandits
después
versus
Reject
then
versus
Reject
Bandits.
versus NIP. Okay.
Ahí está.
Taking a look
Okay.
over at the
El
World
away puede
Championships.
elegir a qué jugador elegir aleatoriamente, mientras que los de home
Talk to me, Dan.
ya tienen que elegir a sus 3 jugadores al
I
instante.
like how I like all the players represented here as
Eso es lo que hay que tener
well.
cuidado entre home y
I'm gonna
away. En
mention
away puedes
something. I'm not
elegir
sure
qué
if we're gonna
jugadores
get a
quieres
slide
enviar,
that mentions
mientras que
this, but
con los
we'll
home
mention
tienen
at
que
some point.
elegir ya los
Yeah, I do
3
like
que van a
these,
enviar.
the matchups here, all the players
Sin cambios.
involved. I'm actually curious to see, again, me being biased for 2 seconds, I'm actually curious to see if Ninjas in Pajamas do step it up. What will Juicy Joe's form be heading into this outside of his performance? Because remember, he's got a deadly group to deal with first in Capcom Cup. Then he's got to come into this. That's going to be pretty difficult there as well. Angrybird just as well. All the guys involved in the cup have got a tall order to not only perform for themselves, but perform for the team. And we've seen this in SFL, each region respectively. And we've heard Rob TV talk about, shout out to Rob TV as well, just the pressure and the magnitude of SFL grows bigger and bigger, and which means the responsibility comes with that, and obviously with great power comes great responsibility. So when you are
Y ahí está cómo va a ser esto.
there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, and you don't want to let the team down, especially when the
Las
points are so
finales
vital.
de la Capcom Cup son el sábado y las de
No,
la
you're
Street
not
Fighter
kidding. You
League
can
el
see a little bit of
domingo.
like a buffer window going into it, right?
Así que puede
Friday, group
transmitir a
stage,
partir
day
del
one of
11, el
SFL.
11 de marzo.
That's going to be like the big day
O
for
sea,
a
a
lot of the
partir
teams to really
del
get acclimated to the
miércoles 11
competition, and then it comes
hasta
into group stage
el
day
viernes
2
13.
on
Pero el
Sunday, so
14
a
y el
little bit of
15
a
no
break
podré
because obviously the
transmitir,
big finals are happening on Saturday. But
porque esas
days
son
1,
para
2, and
Vivo.
3, when you
Eso
get to
tengo que
go
esperar
through
2
phase 1 and
semanas
phase 2,
después
a
para
lot of the
ver
folks, you guys got to
en
be paying
free.
attention. If you guys plan to stream, those are your 3 days to do it, right?
Yes, that is
Sábado y domingo no podré
very,
cubrir, tendré que
very
esperar al menos
true.
2 semanas para que salga gratis. Porque cuesta $10 pagar
yeah, face. So you
para
kind of
ver
want
tanto
to.
la
I think
Street
if you're
Fighter
those
League
players, you kind of want to
Finals como
avoid
también la Capcom Cup
phase 2.
Finals.
It's easier said than done, but if
Yeah,
you avoid
surely.
phase 2, you can just focus strictly on SFL that day.
For the handful of those that are like involved in it, no, most definitely. It's funny that we're kind of like talking about SFL too. Like when you see how it went down last year in the group stage, like everybody got their W, right? EU beat US, US beat Japan, and then Japan beat EU. It was just a matter of like point accumulation, right? And it was actually pretty close. It was like 40-0, 30-10, 30-10. So it still could have gone either way, and that's kind of insane to think about.
Of course. But yes, do not forget, the tickets are on sale. You can see it right there as well. And if you do get a ticket, there is an exclusive Rashid color, as you can see right there as well. Perfect. Lovely stuff there. A one-day ticket per event is 900 yen, equivalent to 6 USD. And then there is a special color for prepaid tickets for the pay-per-view stuff. Live viewing platform on Spawn now on sale right now, as you can see on the graphic there as well. Perfect. I got clearance to say this. Obviously, this did happen last year as well. It will be a repeat. Let me say this first. That we will be streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Do not forget that. So if you want to tune in on the English stream, it is Capcom Fighters on the YouTube or the Twitch channel. And obviously, if you want to watch things, if you are a Japanese viewer and you want to watch it there, it's Capcom Fighters Japan or JP, or Capcom Fighters _JP as well. And then, of course, we do have Spanish and Portuguese restreams there as well for diversifying our language. So if you're not a native English speaker or native Japanese speaker, you do have a Spanish and Portuguese channels there that you can check out. Co-streaming is allowed for day 1 to day 3 of the event. Please, please, please do not forget that you are allowed to stream that. But then, of course, when we get onto the latter stages of the Capcom Cut event, because it is a week-long celebration, you can actually go and view the finals in the new Battle Hub feature that they put in recently. Now, they are working to
Si lo
make
ves por el
sure
Battle
this
Hub lo
is gonna
podrás
be
ver
in
gratis.
tip-top shape, but it is a trial, so it might not be. There might be times where the stream will cut out, so you're gonna have to bear with them, because the fact that they even put this in there in the first place is a step in the right direction. Ooh, discount. Hello, I'm a video games player. What's this? Talk to me. What is this?
Well, we got all of the big Capcom titles currently on sale for their big Capcom publisher sale. I do know that Street Fighter 6 is also a part of this roster in the US, or at least globally, but this is going to be the discounts going on in Japan specifically for those titles going into it. Obviously, I see DMC on there, big fan of that. Dragon's Dogma, pretty damn sick. And of course, Monster Hunter, that is obviously one of the biggest ones that we could ever ask for. A big discount happening only in Japan right now. But if you guys check it out on Steam right now, you know, Street Fighter 6 is currently $20. I was definitely checking that out the other day. The big Steam sale happening. If you guys want to hop into Street Fighter 6, now is the perfect time. I had already bought both of my nephews 2 copies of the game so they can get into it. So with that said and done, you guys should also be doing the same. The big Capcom publisher sale. There is a summer event happening also. And also, not summer, sorry, but going into spring. I'm actually kind of curious to see what else is going to be happening in the realm of Capcom once Resident Evil comes out. I'm very excited for that. Only a few more days, baby. Only a few more days. What, 5 more days, if I'm not mistaken? I am excited.
I think it's like the 26th, 27th, or something like that, or at least in the EU.
Interesting. I thought it was like I thought it was the 19th. To be honest with you, my trip.
Let me. Do you know? I'm gonna look right now.
Okay, please do. No, please do, because I need to make sure I get my dates right. Either way, it's the month of Resident Evil, baby, and I am definitely excited.
February 27th. That's the date I've got. February 27th on the Steam page.
Weird.
On my wish list. So either way, it's just under 2 weeks for Resident Evil 9. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know if I should play it when we come back or play it before. I don't know. I'll probably wait. Not to spoil the surprise. It depends on how.
Okay, I'm tripping. It is February 27th. I definitely think there's gonna be like a handful of people that are gonna be like doing their journalist reviews. That's what I saw. They get it a week early, so I'm like, oh, I see. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well,
but either way, yo, Jammers, it's been pretty godlike to have you on and also to be a part of the stream. I didn't want to do it too quickly. Didn't want to cut you off, but the producer's like, hey, man, we gotta go.
Nah, it's been a wild ride. Hopefully we don't get detention for too long, because that was fun. But now, honestly, big thank you to Aru and Hamako for doing this. This is a very big responsibility, and I'm sure they had fun doing it. But Aru's gonna scold Hamako later. Big thank you to the production team, Yubito, Udai, everyone there, for making sure things run smoothly. And of course, shout outs to co-commentator, co-host, and I'll be working with him at the Cup very soon, and Vicious. And yeah, we're gonna be having some fun, and it's gonna be Capcom Cup 12. It's gonna be another memorable moment. Hopefully, you guys can join us. Will the favorite or a favorite win, or will we see another surprise name joining the pantheon of Street Fighter 6 champions? It's hard to say, but at the end of the day, we're still watching high-level Street Fighter. I like doing it.
Couldn't say it any better than that. In the meantime, hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll see you all in March at Capcom Cup.
グループができたわけじゃないですか。
まあそうね。いやでも本当にもっとやばいことになるだろうと思ってたからその、よく日本勢3名とかはざらにできるんだろうなって1個はできるんだろうなぐらいの、
まあそうね、
そう思ってたから、30%引けんかって思いながらやってました正直。
そうですね、
逆にね、確率ある程度調べてきたから
強気だね。
そう
朝会った時本当に全部引くのって言ったら、いやもう全部確率俺調べてきたから
そう
あ、何言われてもいける、
何言われてもいける、
意味わかんない、
何やってんだよって言われてもこれはでも何パーだからまあまあ別にストリートファイターリーガーの投げ抜け率より低いとかそういうことが言えるような、
みんながいろいろ言うからこうなっちゃったんだぞ、理論武装のお化けみたいなよ
それで来てるんで、
はい、
なんですけど思ったより
そうだね、
その点では、そのまあ確率通りって言ったらあれですけどね、引けなかったなって
引けなかったと思うところ
いつも、まあでも言うてもでもやっぱ厳しいブロックもできたんで、
まあそうね、
ちょっとそこは本当に内容を注視しつつ楽しんでいければなと、はい思っております。
なのでまあここから選手たちはですね、本腰を入れて、CC に向けてね、いろいろ練習も始まると思いますので、みんなでねもう練習期間から見て、見守って、そして当日を迎えたいと思います、それでは皆様両国国技館でお会いいたしましょう。さよなら。
さよなら。
Ha terminado el evento, la cobertura. Así que salimos acá. Y bueno gente, hasta acá llegamos hoy con la cobertura del Group Seeding de la Capcom Pro Tour 2025 que se celebrará este 11 de marzo. Otra vez les aviso cómo van a estar conformados los grupos. Grupo A va a tener a Xiaohai, Blast, Juicy Joe y Hot Dog 29. Grupo B va a tener a Kawano, Fudo, Ending Walker y Bravery. Grupo C va a tener a MenaRD, YHCMochi, Big Bear y Dark Corgi. Grupo D va a tener a Enel, Sahara, Japan y Shaka. Grupo E va a tener a DK, Pugera, Johangel y Kaba. Grupo F tendrá a Angrybird, Momochi, Tashi y Kincho. Grupo G tendrá a Gachikun, Kobayan, No Pedro y Viexbao. Grupo H tendrá a Leshar, Ryukichi, Lugabo y Travis Styles. Grupo I tendrá a Punk, Serna, Armakov y Higuchi. Grupo J tendrá a Miki, Lex, Kristatarian y Rainbow. Grupo K tendrá a Hinao, Kilchu, Nakdu y Raihan, el único full modern player que va a haber. Y Grupo L va a tener a Itabashi, Daver, Jack y Jiwa. Entre ellos se van a disputar formato obviamente bracket, donde va a pasar uno por winner y uno por loser, pero cuando pasen pasarán a la fase final donde será Single Elimination FT5. Tras eso, el domingo estarán las finales de... Bueno, entre el sábado y el domingo estarán las finales de la Street Fighter League, que van a ser día 1 y día 2. El primer día que va a ser con formato home y away, posiblemente el primer día va a ser hasta 60 puntos, y luego el segundo día hasta las finales van a ser creo que a 70 o 90 puntos. O sea que todo lo que pase ahí, por desgracia no voy a poder cubrir ninguna de las dos, porque obviamente es per view y tendré que esperar al menos 2 semanas para verlo gratis. Así que tendré que tratar de evitar de no entrar en las redes sociales y que no haya ningún spoiler a la gente que vaya a pagar para ver las finales. Pero en fin gente, hasta acá dejamos el directo de cobertura del Group Seeding de la Capcom Pro Tour 2025, así que nos veremos ahora con esto el 11 de marzo. Y después de eso, para las finales, nos veremos recién casi a finales de marzo, para encontrar quién será el nuevo Capcom Cup Champion del número 12. Y obviamente después veremos dónde será la Capcom Cup 13. Cómo será el formato y los eventos que conformarán eso. Pero en fin, a los que están en YouTube, si les ha gustado este directo de hoy de cobertura de la Capcom Group Seeding de hoy, ayuda mucho a dar un buen like, compartir en sociales y si pueden también suscribirse al canal para más. No olviden activar la campanita que notifique siguientes vídeos y seguirme en las redes sociales para más. Y a los que están en Twitch, ayuda mucho a dar un buen follow y seguirme en las redes sociales para más, ya que ahora tengo una meta de llegar en este año, si es que puedo, a 350 seguidores y en YouTube llegar a 800 suscriptores. Obviamente, poco a poco lo estoy haciendo. O sea, no pido obviamente mucho. Pido ahora para YouTube llegar a 800 suscriptores y a Twitch llegar a 350 seguidores. Pero en fin, gente, nos veremos ahora el lunes con otra nueva semana de directos donde estaremos el lunes cubriendo más de Lufia and the Prince of Lore. Martes empezaremos el capítulo 3 de Danganronpa Ultra Disperkers. Miércoles empezaremos nueva serie que va a ser Final Fantasy VII, versión Dockstation con logros. Jueves estaremos con con Breath of Fire 1 y viernes estaremos con más de Super Mario RPG. Así que esta semana que viene vamos a tener un calendario bastante pesado, pero no es nada de lo que yo no pueda soportar. Pero en fin, buenas noches a todos por haber pasado por este directo y nos vemos